Scored.
Have you downloaded the Sikkim 365 radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
Albert tried to get it inside. Looked like it might have been a kick. Butler all alone and converts on the layup.
Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've been in the business now since November of '81, and there are days when there's just so many things going on. And today we did expect most likely Jared Butler would make a decision on his future, NBA or Baylor. The Big 12 presidents tonight are expected to vote on what they're going to do with their schedule, whether it's going to be 9, 10, 12 games, whatever. And then also today, high school football got back to working out. I was able to drop by Connolly. We'll have their games this week or this year, and had a chance to visit with Torrey Poland, a returning All-State defensive lineman. There was a stunning allegation against TCU head coach Gary Patterson that now has been deleted, but it's about possibly using a racist slur. And on top of that, Baylor women yet get somebody else to help them, not this year, but coming up next. We have Ty Detmer today, Greg Roberts Jr. today, 2 high school coaches today, a sports attorney today, the young lady who's transferring to Baylor, Jared Butler. Scott Drew will join us momentarily. And my goodness, what a day. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke. The news with Jared Butler, not shocking. It's kind of what we expected, but what an offseason continues and now pretty much seals the deal for Baylor.
All good news all offseason long for Scott Drew and the Bears. I mean, just more good news, good news again. And they've got, I mean, if they had a plan for how this season was going to work out to start it, it was getting Teague and Butler back.
Yep, and they got them. Not to mention the ones they have set up for next year.
Yeah, if you're Scott Drew and you planned out the perfect offseason, I think landed 3 blue-chip type recruits, which they did over the last month, and then having, 2 players who can make you a better basketball team next year and are obviously good enough to at least put their name in the hat for the draft, for them both to decide to return, I think is just setting the table for this team, barring, any obstacles that might get in the way and this uncertainty that we all facing. But on paper, they are one of the best teams in college basketball right now. There's not even a question about that. I think they were up there even without Butler, but now with Butler, I mean, you're looking at preseason number 1 rankings, and if not number 1, then they're number 2 at worst. So, yeah, they are loaded for bear, no pun intended, and the future is also looking bright as well.
High school practices began bright and early this morning. We'll hear from Torrey Poland of Connolly in just a second. Also, Rogers head coach Charlie Roten, and also Bremon's Jeff Kozowski will join us at 3:45 and 4:45. Big 12 tonight expected to vote on the schedule. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to play 9 conference games and a non-conference game. What do you think is the end result?
I think that they're going to play full conference schedule plus a non-con game that hopefully they all still have on their schedule. Like maybe Baylor can grab Louisiana Tech or something to stay on there. I think that's what they've been painted in a corner to have to do.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 10-game model, the conference games plus 1 extra. I could see them maybe trying to put the whole schedule out there and still just grit their teeth and try to get through that, but I don't know. Everybody else has changed at least a little at this point, so I'm expecting the Big 12 to at least change a little, perhaps to accommodate, having some more weeks free so that if you have to get flexible with the schedule rather than only having the 1 open week if you go with the norm. So I would expect them to probably have a slightly modified schedule. I'll guess 10 games, but I really have no idea. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, who knows? It might be more than what we think, and it end up might be in that 9 conference games plus play somebody home and away, which would be kind of a mess. We'll see what happens. That's supposed to happen tonight. Mac Rose will join us tomorrow regardless and be able to give us his feedback on whatever the decisions might be done. All right, we're going to have Scott Drew here momentarily on Jared Butler. Get him on. And also, Kamara McDaniel, the young lady from Penn State. She's actually from Michigan. She's transferring to Baylor. She's going to join us at 5:30 today. I just spoke with her recently. All Big Ten guard, a scorer. We'll have her on. There's been a coaching change at Penn State. And so even a couple of players that played at Penn State are now at Texas. So she's another one that's left Penn State women's basketball program. This Gary Patterson thing is confusing. It's very frightening in a way of what might be the truth. He was a player called him out for using a racial slur during a meeting. Players today, apparently there's a report that boycotted practice. There's a lot being said, some saying no, some saying yes. We'll follow that and give you an update as we possibly can. But we're now joined by, has to be the elite recruiter in all of men's college basketball, anywhere. It's Scott Drew, Maceo Teague, and now Jared Butler. Scott, could you have written a better offseason than what you had?
Not so far, especially the last few weeks have been special for Baylor basketball. A lot of positive news and a lot of excitement. And at the end of the day, it just shows how much the guys really like one another, how close they are together, how much they enjoy being teammates because they all wanted to come back and try to finish what we started.
You know, the unfinished business was what Jared mentioned in his video, and I'm sure that feeling, just runs throughout the team. But how big of a factor was the fact that you guys did not get to play in 1 second of a tournament that kind of grew that feeling inside Jared and Maceo in particular?
Well, definitely that's something that, Maceo's not been to an NCAA tournament yet, and Jared, our team goals were Final Four, national championship, like most teams at the beginning of every year. And the fact that we had a great year and put ourselves in position come Selection Sunday to have a seed that would give you a great opportunity to make a run at something like that. Not to have that chance or to play in the Big 12 tournament definitely left a null and void and empty feeling, and something that, again, I remember when Perry Jones chose to return, and a big reason he did was he wanted to play in the NCAA tournament as well. And so that's something you grow up as a kid when you're working on your game and watching college basketball. You dream about being in those situations, and I know this team would love to have that opportunity this year.
Scott, what was Jared's comment to you when he told you that he was going to be coming back? He shoot you a text to give you a phone call? How'd that kind of unfold?
Oh, well, Jared's been great, as was Maceo during the whole process, keeping us up to date and trying to make sure we were helping each other and doing what was best for obviously Jared and Maceo first and foremost, but also thinking about their team and not trying to put them in a bad position here. So like everybody, we saw the video, we saw the interview from Trey Wingo, and he had given me a heads up on some stuff, but I know seeing two Bears, Trey and him doing an interview is a great thing. And then some great shots of Waco with that video.
Yep.
Waco got a lot of pub. So that looked like a Smokey original right there.
I don't know about that. I used to be able to shoot video when I was young and in television and had hair and whatever else. We're going to have Jared on today at 4:30. The overall, just where you're now set up, Scott, with what you have coming back officially and also what you added for those who were marinating and weren't able to play last year, and then others who are bigger, better, faster, stronger. Do you have – they all got to go play the game. But do you have a weakness, in your opinion, with 2020 team?
Well, I think every year things that you can't measure are the leadership, the injury factor, the chemistry, and until you go through the season, you really never know how that's all going to play out. And I mean, there's been years where people lose a lot. I just watched OKC the other day on TV, and they talked about what a great success story, because they lost a lot, and yet they're having a great year and far surpassed expectations. And then there's other teams that every year are projected to do better than they do and don't. So with us, I can tell you one thing, and that is our strength last year was we had great leadership and great chemistry, and hopefully that continues. At the same time, it's different dynamics, and you'll have to when you have new players that come into the locker room, it's important that they fit in. And then when you lose people at the end of the day, Bandu and Freddie both were key components to our team, and we'll have to see how we pick up their pieces.
You mentioned new guys coming to the locker room, but new guys also have been there in the locker room. A lot of your grad transfers has been there. How much of a help is that for a team so they know, like the guys know how this is supposed to work? There's no real learning curve until it comes into their actual rotations when they get into the the games?
Well, the big thing is this has not been a normal summer, obviously. So teams that return a bulk of their upperclassmen or people that played last year have a big advantage to teams that not only have to learn a new offense, defense, coaching style, and whatnot, but also haven't had the chance to go through the battles and wars together. So that's huge for us. That being able to return so many experienced players, and part of our maturity last year was a big factor in us being successful, and hopefully just another year of that. Obviously, is something that every coach would prefer to have rather than not to have. Again, doesn't guarantee anything, but you definitely would want that more than the other way, and that's for sure.
Coach, just looking at where Jared's game is right now, obviously had he decided to go the other way with this decision, not many people would have been surprised, and he would have found success. But with him coming back, ideally in your mind, where do you look for him to improve? And I know there's not a lot of areas for him to improve, but where do you see his game, I guess, maturing?
Well, I think each and every year you want to improve in certain areas, and I know with Jared just this summer he's improved with his athleticism in workouts. He's dunking everything where a year ago he was always laying them up at this point. So I know he wants to be more explosive and continue to develop as an athlete. As far as a basketball player, he did so many great things last year, but you always want to be more efficient. I think you can start with the free throw numbers, and I mean, you hope he's an 85-90% free throw shooter. 3-point percentage, field goal percentage, you always want to increase those each and every year. And then his assist to turnover ratio, there's no reason he can't be a 3-to-1 guy. And like those are when you have a lot of good players playing with each other, hopefully it leads to everybody being more efficient because you're not having to take as many tough shots or make as many tough plays. Hopefully you're given the ball with more advantages, which lead to more efficiency.
Well, it's been an unbelievable couple of 2 or 3 weeks for you, including Maceo and now Jared. You've led us off both those days. That's always a great way to start. We'll have Maceo. Of course, we had him last week. We'll have Jared in an hour or so. Scott, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Congratulations on keeping everything intact.
Well, thank you, and we're really looking forward to playing games and having hopefully everyone in the Farrell Center at some point.
Absolutely.
So, thank you guys for all you do. Take care. Have a great day.
You too. Scott Drew, one of the first to reach out to us about what we were doing and where we were going or what our plans were. We appreciate him for being a part of the show.
He was also the first one to congratulate us, I think, when we announced the new gig.
I got a random text message from Scott Drew, and y'all had to give him my number, somebody who does have my number, because I've never interacted with him before. But after, that time period ended, he was somebody who sent a text, and I really appreciated it, and I've gotten one from him since then. I think it was like a Happy Easter or something, like he's just the nicest guy in the world. But I heard from him quicker, and I'll just say I heard from him, whereas there were people I worked with for 4 years who I still have never heard from. And Scott Drew, to take that time and effort to send that was just it was really cool. It was a really cool thing he didn't have to do. So very happy for the success that those guys are having right now.
Yeah, no question about it. We'll have him. Scott Drew, thank you for the time. And also Jared Butler will join us. There's a local media session at 4, like a Zoom meeting that's going to go maybe 30 minutes or so. We'll have him right after that time, 4:30, and discuss with Jared Butler his decision. Thanks to Scott Drew for opening us up. So think about this. We'll have Scott. We just had Scott Drew. Tori Pullen of Kindly in just a second about workouts. What a personality he is. Ty Detmer. I don't think Brigham Young's a part of the Big 12 plans, but he and I traded a couple of texts. Another Heisman Trophy winner that joins the show. Rogers head coach Charlie Roten at 3:45 getting back to work. Greg Roberts Jr., who had been through testing positive for COVID with the Packers, he'll join us at 4. Jeff Goodman on Butler and Baylor men's basketball, 4:15, one of the elite national basketball writers. Butler at 4:30. Jeff Kosowski-Breemon, 4:45. 5 o'clock, Dan Luss, sports attorney on the Pac-12 players in some unity type wanting to make a statement and maybe threatening not to play.
I know maybe. They are threatening not to play.
And then at 5:30, we'll have Kamaria McDaniel from Penn State, who's announced she's transferring to Baylor, although sits out for 1 year. This is the week of the PGA Championship, so major championship golf returns. So that's back on schedule as well. Coming up next, and we'll follow this Gary Patterson. I'm going to say this about Patterson. It's an easy hit on this show to just dive right in and hammer him. It would be the most popular thing you could do. That's never been my style. I'll say this. If, in fact, Gary Patterson used a racial slur, he will have consequences, whatever they might be. He is a powerful figure at Fort Worth. Number two, if he didn't, and a player said he did and went public with it, that player should face consequences.
Well, I also think there needs to be a little bit of context as far as just because we haven't really gone over what was alleged yet. We just kind of referenced it, and this is not an accusation of him calling someone the N-word. Like, it's not that. It's him saying the word, allegedly, around black player or black players, but it's not good, but it's not as over the top as some are maybe picturing in their minds.
Former Midway star Trey Tomlinson has already come out and said, listen, this is not he didn't use it like that. Players are saying, yes, he didn't use it in a specific way at somebody, but he used the term. That's why there was a boycott, allegedly, of practice this morning. So we'll work on that, see what's going on there. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Waco Custom Marketplace. I took Craig a steak. I brought one to Paul. I tried this new device called sous vide. Thanks to David Carter, who listens to us all the time. He kept telling me about this device. So I tried it, and the steak was fantastic. I also put one in a small prime rib in the smoker Saturday evening. And I say all that because all of the product that I smoked or cooked or sous vide'd, that's not a word, is Waco Custom Marketplace. Yet another picture or 10. Brian Etheridge with a haul from Waco Custom Marketplace, whether bone-in ribeyes or tri-tip or brisket, whatever it might be. And I bring this up because, my goodness, the food they have, the product they have, the quality of meat they have is amazing. Poultry, pork, seafood, yes, but their beef, their butcher shop is incredible. And then on top of that, they're now available pre-cooked meals like chicken spaghetti, beef tips and rice, meatloaf, and Texas lasagna. And it's really good. It's already been cooked and they come in large portions for really almost two people. And then you heat it up and eat it up as you want to. Plus the bakery with kolaches, cakes, pies, cookies, whatever you need. And, of course, every day there's coffee available for you when you walk to the front door. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco. Dr. Kent Petty wants you to be the highest performance man you want to be. Are you sluggish, lack energy? Do you suffer from low sex drive? Petty Clinic Low T offers discounted comprehensive lab work to check on your various levels that can make a difference. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy and stamina and improved sex drive, but also the healthiest and high performance man. Screening for cardiac heart disease risk, EKG, cholesterol panel, blood pressure monitoring, testosterone or growth hormone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, and prostate cancer screening. Petty Clinic Low T offers replacement therapy for testosterone or growth hormones, weight management therapy, and nutritional advice. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy, stamina, and improved sex drive, but the healthiest and highest performance man. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodward. PettyClinicLowT.com.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one, commercial, farm and ranch, or residential. Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home. How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. The Sikkim 365 Radio poll is brought to you by Pickup Outfitters, where everything purchased and installed comes with our famous lifetime installation guarantee and free warranty assistance. 220 Lake Air Drive or createacommotion.com.
Jared Butler coming back to Baylor. Ty Detmer, Heisman Trophy winner, coming up next. We'll have Jared Butler at 4:30. So much more to get to, but here's my conversation with Conley returning All-State defensive lineman Torrey Pullen. Conley Sr., Torrey Pullen with me on Sikkim 365 Radio. David Smoke here. You guys have been out practicing for a couple of hours already this morning. What is it like? Did you wonder if you were going to come back? Was there a concern whether you'd get back to this point?
Yes, sir. I did concern for a while. And I started praying to God, and then I guess he answered my prayers, and we started playing football back. And I'm just grateful, real grateful that we get to be back out here again with my teammates, with all the coaches. I'm just ready for the season just to start.
Coach Anderson told me about a week ago, it was 2 weeks ago Tuesday, 2 weeks ago tomorrow, the UIL said you guys can get back to normal. Then 3 or 4 hours later, everything was shut down again. Can you kind of describe the emotions of what that was like? I
was hurt. When I first decided, when they said we was open back up, then they closed back in, I was hurt. I was real hurt, and I kept praying some more. And then eventually, a week passed, they opened us back up, and I was happy. And then got the great news, we could start back on Monday, August 3rd.
Coach Anderson told me you have more players out here than maybe you've ever had at Conley, at least in recent memory. So many new faces, a big junior class, what you guys have coming back from last year's success. What's going on here? I mean, you've been winning. That helps. And you've had names that have gone on to play college football, including your brother Trent and, of course, Javion, among others. What's going on here?
You know what? They all left. They had a big part of this program, but we got dudes that's coming up this year. We got dudes that's going to step up and fill their spots.
So the expectations for Conley for quite some time were always what if, or maybe we can, or whatever. Do you feel like, and what did change, that now your expectations, even with the hard schedule you have, the expectations are so much higher?
It is a lot harder. We just got to keep out here, keep pushing, keep working hard, and everything should just go as planned as long as we keep working, keep grinding our butts off every single day.
I know you got to worry about today, then tomorrow, and make sure all this stuff happens. But you got La Vega on the schedule twice. When you heard that, what were your thoughts?
I was ready. I'm so ready for it. I'm ready. We just got to keep grinding every day. Just take it day by day. But I'm ready for that.
You're as you enter your senior year, the experience of what we've been through since March with COVID, with some social justice changes. As a young man, are you 17, 18 years old? As a young man, what's this life like for you?
It's hard at some points, but I just keep pushing. I was raised just keep pushing no matter how hard it gets. Just keep pushing. That's just who I am. I keep pushing no matter how hard the situation is.
Were you in better shape when you guys came back in June after the long break, or are you in better shape now after you've been on a break the last, let's say, 2 or 3 weeks?
Let's say I'm in better shape.
Are you really?
Yes,
yeah.
sir. I've been grinding. Even when nobody was looking, I was grinding. I was working hard. And I think I'm kind of in better shape. I think I can get a little bit more stronger and faster, and then that's about it.
You got this young man next to you on the defensive line now, this sophomore Turner kid.
Yes, sir.
Is that kind of like you gonna give him a little knowledge and experience? And
yes, sir. He learned some things from him. I learned some things from each other, but he's gonna help me a lot on the D line. Yes, sir.
So here we are. You started.
Yes.
Did you sleep well last night because you knew it was about to start? Was it a nervous energy? I mean, you sleep well tonight because you're tired, because you worked out hard, or what?
I slept well because I know when I wake up, it's gonna grind. I fell asleep, good. Woke up, feeling great.
Time to go, huh?
Yes, sir. I was really excited. I had to get that sleep because as soon as I fell asleep, wake up, I'm gonna start on the thing I love is football.
And here you are. You're practicing it. Torrey Poland with me, senior defensive lineman for Conley on Sikkim 365 Radio. Coming up, Heisman Trophy winner Ty Detmer. Would he like to see Brigham Young a part of the Big 12? Not sure that happens. Probably not. He's next on Sikkim 365 Radio. Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Come by. Let's be friends. They have their entire dealership on the outside and even on the inside loaded up with one car, truck, SUV after another with all sorts of fantastic August clearance and savings. For example, the summer clearance event continues. Save yourself a bunch of money on the new 2020s. Allen Samuels loaded up with new inventory, a tremendous selection of new Ram trucks. Perfect time for a Ram truck for you, your family, and even your business. Allen Samuels, a great time to save in the world's #1 SUV. Jeep. Get big summer clearance savings on new Wranglers, Gladiators, Cherokees, Grand Cherokees in the entire Jeep lineup. Safe, sanitized environment, and also they have multiple locations in 5 different states. If you want a specific car, truck, or SUV, they can help find one for you because of their networking they have. Shop and apply, buy online, AllenSamuelsDCJ.com, or drop by the dealership for August savings and clearance at 340 Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Every man knows that you got to get it right in the bed. Hey there, Jay from Pickup Outfitters here to talk about a sensitive issue and asking you, please, don't drive around town exposing your stuff. Please, cover that truck bed. This is a very serious form of truck nudity. Trucks without bed covers, and it's an easy fix. There are so many different types of covers depending on your needs and style, from folding, rolling, locking, retractable, anything from black to silver, even paint to match the original cover of your truck. Now, all these are hard, rigid covers, just like they should be. Now, there are also some soft bed covers, but you know. So don't be driving around with a bare truck bed. It's like letting people peek underneath your covers. It just ain't right. See the different types of bed covers at createacommotion.com/covers. Won't you help us end truck nudity? Stop by our showroom and see all our bed cover displays at Pickup Outfitters, just off of Waco Drive at 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Summertime means vacation time, and while this summer may be different, at Allen Samuels, you can always count on our huge summer clearance event. It's on. Brand spanking new 2020 Ram Lone Star Crew Cabs. Now 0% financing for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $10,250 in total values. America's most loyal half-ton pickup owners are Ram owners. It's time to say goodbye. Adios, 2020s, from Allen Samuels. Ask for details.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
First and 10. Cougars on the move at the 31 of San Diego State. Detmer with all kinds of time as a man wide open. Touchdown, Jamal Willis.
The Sikkim 365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
All in this together, and conferences are trying to make decisions. Tonight, the presidents in the Big 12 will decide what they do after the other Power 5 schools and conferences have made up their mind. There's different options. One of them that was floated out was the possibility, because Brigham Young has lost half of their schedule, of doing with BYU and the Big 12 what ACC did with Notre Dame. Ty Detmer, former Heisman Trophy winning quarterback at Brigham Young and also a part of the Texas Sports Hall of Fame and High School Hall of Fame, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Ty, would you like to see that? Have you heard that at all much from anybody at Brigham Young?
Well, I've been following, I probably get all of my news from Twitter. I've been following, and I think, you know, this is kind of the last ditch effort, I think, for BYU to be able to pick up some extra games from those that they lost to the Pac-12 and the Big Ten. So I think everybody associated with BYU would love to see BYU pick up some games with the Big 12. I know a few years ago I was there when they were talking about joining the Big 12 and maybe the Big 12 was going to expand. So, you know, there have been conversations in the past, so maybe this one will maybe kickstart that again, and they'll be able to pick up a few extra games if some of the Big 12 teams need them.
Is it hard to kind of be a BYU fan when you're, without them being in a conference and worried about, what happens if they do have a great season and they have to, follow this other standard that other fans don't have to worry about?
Sure. It's definitely different, being an independent, because you don't play for a conference championship. You're not, your players don't have a chance for all conference honors, those kind of things. But it does give us some flexibility to be able to bounce around. But I think, something like this happening really shows, the negative side of not being in a conference where you're not protected by certain things that could happen that, nobody could have foreseen this. But I think now it shows that, it is tough to be an independent and you're probably better off being in a conference. And I know BYU's tried at different times, different conferences, and just hasn't worked out.
Ty, I know this is a hard question to ask because, there's no way of knowing really, but what do you think if you were in the shoes of these college players today, and we've already seen, NFL guys who have announced they're not going to play this upcoming season, with all that's going on, if you could kind of transport yourself into that position, do you think you'd have hesitation of playing out this season?
Me personally, probably not. I mean, that was something I loved to do. My dad's a football coach. He's still coaching high school football there in Texas, and football's been a big part of our life. I know there would need to be some, some other sacrifice in other areas of my life. Maybe not going home and seeing family for Thanksgiving, some of those things. But I think, my whole family probably would have been on board and know what it takes to be able to play and to live out your dreams. So for me, I don't see myself any way of not playing, but I know I would have had the support from my family and knowing that they knew that was important for me, and you got to make sacrifices in other areas of your life.
You went back to your alma mater to coach for a couple of years. After last time we had you on, you were coaching down, I think, in the Austin area with St. Andrew's Episcopal School, and you were there for a nice stretch of time. Then you went back to Brigham Young as a coach. What was that like to go back to your alma mater as a coach?
It was really neat. You gain a different perspective from the coach's side of things, more from the administrative side. As opposed to being a player. And some things were still the same. There's things that had changed since I'd been there as a player, obviously, 30 years ago. But, it was really neat to go back and be a part of Cougar Nation and put on the blue and white again and represent the school.
Your Heisman Trophy year, you guys were doing things on offense that now people kind of do all the time. What was it like to kind of explode on offense and show people that you didn't just have to line up and get 3 yards in a cloud of dust?
Yeah, that's kind of the way I played in high school. My dad, we had a pro style offense and we threw it, at the time it seemed like a ton, 30 to 35, maybe 40 times a game. And so I kind of grew up in that system throughout high school and was excited to have the opportunity to go to BYU where it was that same mentality, going there where we're going to spread people out a little bit, use our backs in the passing game and tight ends and make it tough on these run stopping linebackers to have to cover people. So it was a great time to be playing there and a great offense to learn from and to grow in and really a foundation for moving on to the NFL after that.
Ty, we see defensive coordinators get frustrated with, the Lincoln Rileys of the world, Art Briles when he was at Baylor, and offensive masterminds like that. But, this is even still in a time where we're seeing all these explosive offenses. What was the look like on the faces of defensive coordinators and defensive players when you guys were doing this well ahead of your time?
There was a lot of frustration over there. I had a chance to kind of they had a replay of the Miami game, and then Miami was the Alabama of college football in the late '80s, early '90s, and watching some of the cutaways to the sideline, guys are over there arguing and they can't figure out what's happening here, and it was frustrating for defenses then because they were built to stop a run, and now we got to go cover and do we play man, do we play zone, do we rush three? We'd see all kinds of different defenses that teams would try that 1 week to try to disrupt what we were doing.
Yeah, you guys, your father was well ahead of his time at Mission, and also you, of course, at San Antonio Southwest. Did you sometimes wonder back then why more people weren't doing what you were doing?
Yeah, all the time, because we had success in it, and it was a different mindset. And now, it's changed. People are innovative. Even the NFL they're getting some of their information from college coaches that are having success. So, there's a little less pride, I think, in the game of we're going to do it our way and we're going to grind it out and just do what we do. Now coaches, I think, are a lot more open-minded to, well, hey, if that makes it easier for us, let's try that. And so it's great to see the game change and become more exciting, more wide open. And, at the end of the day, it's blocking and tackling, but there is some scheme involved that gives people trouble and have to try to figure out how to cover.
The job you have now, Ty Detmer with us, former Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, executive director of athletes for charter schools in the Phoenix area, American Leadership Academies. Tell everyone what you're doing.
Yeah, so really an athletic director for our district. We have 3 K through 12s here in the Phoenix area, and so I help oversee all of those athletic programs and make sure they're doing things the way that they're expected to be done. And so I get to kind of bounce around, and I'm the guy now that pops in and says, "Oh, you should be doing this," and then I leave. And and so no, I try not to be that guy, but it's fun to be able to bounce around and interact with the different schools, different coaches, and all the different kids at those American Leadership Academies.
When you watch the game today, the way the game has actually gone from, and it seems like Texas high school football has always been ahead of the curve, and if we mentioned your style. But did you ever think that the NFL game would get infiltrated as much as it is now by the kind of spread or multi-talented type quarterback? Not that they weren't before, but this kind of offense that would actually work in the NFL?
Yeah, well, I think, like I said, there was a lot of pride, I think, in the NFL. A lot of teams ran a similar offense. They might have had different terminology, but, I spent 14 years watching film and just seeing the same concepts and things. And now you're seeing, wrinkles every week of using the backs more or some RPOs that they never had in place. And, I like you said, I coached in Austin around the high school scene, and I saw kind of the evolution of Lake Travis and the Brewer brothers there and them slinging it around and got to know Charlie pretty well. And to see them, kind of take that next step with the passing game and then the spread type of offense, it was neat to see how things evolve so quickly. And then it translates to college and then trickles on up to the NFL with some of the things they're doing. So it's good to see. I don't think I was expecting as much of a wholesale change with teams. A lot of teams are strictly in shotgun now, even in the NFL, and doing a lot more out of that rather than being under center and some of those things. So we're seeing it really change pretty quickly in that league.
Charlie Brewer is about to play an offense with Larry Fedora that'll be a lot more wide open than it was a year ago. How do you think that he'll step into an offense that he's at least familiar with the style of?
Yeah, he'll do great. He's a sharp kid. The family's a football family, and I've had a chance to spend a little time around him, and he understands the game, and he's in a position now where he's got the experience under his belt, and changing the offense will be a little different, but he'll pick it up really quick. Now it's a matter of the guys around him coaching them up and getting them caught up to speed.
Ty, I'm always curious about this whenever we talk to Heisman winners. Where do your trophies reside these days?
Mine's here with us at our house here in Arizona. We're just renting, and we weren't sure how long we were going to rent for. So a lot of our stuff is boxed up still, but we're building a house, and we'll have a little office space there where we'll be able to put a few things. So usually keep it there, and then of course the school has one in the front of the athletic building there.
I'll never forget the first time I ever was fortunate enough to walk into Earl Campbell's mother's home. And you walk in the front door, and off to the right they had a table, and that was the original Heisman Trophy. Yes, Texas has one, and the other ones as well. And that's you saw that, Craig, one, and it's just so amazing.
And she was in an old neighborhood. This was on like a really ritzy, nice. And so like if you drove by, you wouldn't think that like on the dining room table in this house is the Heisman Trophy that Earl Campbell won. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
my parents had mine for a long time while I was playing in the NFL until we decided to settle down. So it was probably in a similar type of setting. But my dad being a high school coach, they were pretty proud of that.
I bet they were. When you went to pick that up when you won it, and of course the celebration, the ceremony has changed so dramatically, even from when you won it to what it is now. It's almost like a TV show that's turned into like almost a movie. When you went to pick that up, was it heavier than you thought?
It was. I actually was in Hawaii when they announced it. So
oh, okay.
I had to wait a week for the banquet the next weekend, and when they handed it to me at the dinner, they just kind of picked it up and handed it, and I grabbed it kind of awkward, and it almost dropped it. So it was, it was a little more solid than I figured.
Well, at least that's not the moment you're remembered for. Like you,
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have gone sideways real quick.
All right. Hey, Ty, thank you very much for responding to me this weekend to come on the show. Really appreciate it. Good luck with Brigham Young. Good luck with what you're doing in Arizona. And always love talking to you about football in your life as well. Thank you.
I appreciate it. You guys have a good day.
Ty Detmer played in the NFL, Packers, Eagles, Niners, Browns, Lions, and Falcons. Brigham Young for a couple of years as their offensive coordinator. Went to Southwest High School in San Antonio. His father, the legendary head coach. Brigham Young, Heisman Trophy winner, Texas Sports Hall of Fame, High School Football Hall of Fame, the gamut of many things. When we come back, a high school football workout started today. We've heard from Conley All-State defensive lineman, defensive tackle Torrey Pullen. Coming up, Charlie Roten, head coach at Rogers. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, hot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
Pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. The Sikkim 365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
Wrapping up this 3 o'clock hour. Charlie Roten, head coach at Rogers, 11-2 last year, had themselves one heck of a run. Joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. We'll hear from Jeff Kozowski, head coach at Bremond, at 4:45. Charlie, you've been in this business quite some time. You've started workouts in August many times over your life. Was this a little bit different because of what has been going on the last 3 to 4 months in America?
Yeah, it was different initially. We're requiring the kids to wear the mask inside in the water. There's a lot of things you had to work through as far as, the towels and water and just a lot of things you take for granted. But, once you kind of get out there and get going, it just kind of becomes, human nature and how we just kind of do things. And, we just kind of get out there and get going, and you're aware of the things you're supposed to do. But, when you're out there, you're thinking about getting better. So it was different. But like I said, once you kind of get going, it's just practicing out there again.
Coach, I'd imagine it's nice to just be practicing, right? I mean, amid all this uncertainty, you probably didn't know when that was going to happen again. So even though it's got a lot of precautions that it entails now, just to see your kids' faces, see them out there, how is that?
It's great. That's I was talking to Curtis KCN today. He came by, did his little preview with us, and that's what we enjoy. At least that's what I enjoy. Off season, when you do that and you're in the weight room, that's great. And I enjoy it. But the most fun that I have is football season and being on the field and practicing. Seeing kids getting better. Seeing your team come together, and that was a fun part of it for me.
When I said, is it different? And it is different because of the precautions. Did you miss it any more during the downtime than you have before?
Yeah, I think so. Because we do a lot in the spring as far as football. We probably start earlier than a lot of people do in the spring, and we take advantage of that time. We try to do track in the morning, and we try to block off the period. Usually beginning around March to go out and practice football. So that was like something that I missed a little bit. We missed. But then, we had the summer, so we started on June 8th, and, with the school time and all that, it's kind of if you let it be, it can kind of be a year-round deal. So, it wasn't like, we got out there the first day and we didn't know what we were doing. We've been working on football all summer, so that was good.
Last year, you were 11-2. The team that beat you, Gunner, is part of your history, right?
Yes, sir. I was there for 6 years.
So they're good. I mean, obviously, Gunner's a fantastic football program. What was that like to play them and look across, and that's where you had won a state championship as an assistant coach in your career?
Well, it wasn't as unique or different as I thought it was going to be. Kind of like we talked about earlier with practice. Once you get out there and you get going, it's just another team. Obviously, they were a really good team, and they proved themselves out that day against us. But it was, leading up to it, I thought there was going to be a little bit more, more hyped up, I guess, just the fact that I was there and all that. And I'm glad there wasn't. It was just kind of another game, and we got out there, and unfortunately, we didn't play very well. I mean, they were better than us. There's no doubt about that. But I felt like we could have played a lot better and played with them a little better. But it is what it is. I mean, you win them and you lose them sometimes.
So you're back practice. You have the schedule. Hopefully the schedule remains the same. Obviously, hopefully everyone remains safe. Your thoughts about what you have coming off the team you did have last year. Your thoughts about who you are, and do you know much about them?
I think we know, I think we know some things about certain positions, probably like everybody else. We've got a kid, Ty Seebeck, who's been starting for us for 4 years. This will be his 4th year, so we feel good about him. We've got a kid, Christian Riley. He's been playing running back for us for 2 years. He's moving to slot for us, so we know what we got there. Now there's also some question marks. We've got to replace the quarterback. We've got to replace some key guys on defense. I think like anybody else, we've got positions where we feel pretty good, and we've got positions where we got to create some competition and find some guys who can play on Friday night for us.
Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate it. Craig, anything else? Paul? Nope. Charlie, thank you. Glad you're back. Glad it's back on the field. Thanks for your time. Stay safe.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Smoke.
And Craig Smoke also. That's Charlie Roten, head coach at Rogers High School, with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. And we have just gone through 1 of 3 hours rapid fire. Up next, he's with the Packers. He's been through COVID. He tested positive. Former Baylor defensive lineman Greg Roberts Jr. on Sikkim 365 Radio. Petty Clinic, lowt.com. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance male that you want to be. How does he do that? Well, contact him. Petty Clinic, lowt.com. Petty Clinic, lowt.com. Tell him you heard about it with Smokey, Paul, Craig on Sikkim 365 Radio. Say, hey, I want to be that high-performance man that I hear about. How does he find out? How do you get to be that way? How do you know it might be something he can help you with? Get your blood work. He'll set up with discounted lab work, check your blood, your lab results, check your testosterone level, and if it's too low, he will put you in a program that will slowly but surely and methodically get you back to be the high-performance man you want to be. Whether it's energy, sex drive, whether it's endurance or stamina, he can help you out. PettyClinicLowT.com. You walk in the door, there's a sign-up sheet there, and you'll see 2-3 dozen names a day. But you have to make the call. You have to contact them, PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let
let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
In great times or tough times, you always feel better working with someone who's there for you. When it comes to great banking, people here count on the First National Bank of Central Texas, here to help you, your family, and your business. Personal banking via phone, desktop, tablet, and drive-through, and business banking tailored for all situations, including yours. Amazing tomorrows from the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozers Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Victor Falcone from 39 and out was just 2 for 6, and this one is blocked. This attempt was 47 yards, and Baylor has blocked it after the turnover they've held, and that is the kind of fun Phil Snow and Matt Rule want to see their team have.
Greg Roberts. Yeah, the junior defensive end got his paw up there.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sikkim 365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, David Smoke with you, Sikkim 365 Radio. This hour is packed. We will have Jared Butler, who's decided to come back for his last year at Baylor at 4:30. He just started a local media Zoom session with local media. He'll join us live at 4:30. We'll also hear from Jeff Goodman. Goodman Hoops covers college basketball and the decision of Butler and the offseason of Baylor. And also we'll have Jeff Kozowski, head coach at Bremond. He'll join us today at 4:45. But right now we start off, thanks to Richard Carr Buick GMC Motors, GMC Cadillac Motors, the Sikkim 365 Where Are They Now segment with former Baylor defensive lineman Greg Roberts, who is now with the Green Bay Packers. So, man, what a spring you've had, huh?
Yeah, for real, man. Longer than I thought it would be.
So, for those that don't know, you've had to go. You dealt with COVID yourself. You had to deal with that. You had to be quarantined. You had to get healthy. So kind of take us through all of what happened.
Yeah. So it was actually recently. I went to Houston to work out with another former player, Ira Lewis. I don't know if y'all remember him.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we were working out together, and I guess Houston was a hot spot. We ended up catching it, and been quarantining ever since. So now I'm up here in Green Bay and waiting on my negative test to come back.
So were you symptomatic? Did you have to deal with it, or what was your experience with it?
So it didn't hit me like as hard as, I've seen it hit people. I guess probably because I'm younger and healthy. I lost taste and smell, and that was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. Had like a mild headache throughout, and I have no symptoms now. So yeah, the weirdest thing was not being able to smell or taste, and it takes your appetite away. So
yeah, I've heard that about the smell and taste. A lot of people have a hard time, dealing with that just because it's so strange. But Greg, with everything that's going on, like, just how weird has this been to deal with from your standpoint? I mean, how have you just sort of navigated before you even had COVID, the shutdown and everything else going on?
Yeah, well, super weird. I thought the off season would be shorter, and then they told us that we weren't reporting. We were going to do everything off Zoom. So just kind of been taking it in stride, man. Just kept working out. Thank God I had a great trainer down in Tampa, and kept working out with him for the last 5 months. And most of my family's down in Tampa, so I got to hang out with them, which I haven't been able to do since I was like 10 or 11. I haven't been able to spend that much time with them. So it was real refreshing, and
longer than I thought it would be. So I'm ready to get back to football for sure.
Greg, what was it like not to play? What was it like to not play the game that you've always played? I know you when you first moved to Baylor from Nacogdoches High School, you've had to have some time when you're patient. But what was it like not to be able to play?
Yeah, real weird. So I had never had a significant injury like this, or like I had until I got to the league. So it was different. I think I try to look at it in a positive light. So I didn't get the physical reps, but I got a lot of mental reps, and I got a chance to sit back and learn and watch some really, really great players and some people who are at the top of the line at what they do. So it was a great learning experience, and I'm ready to get back out there now. I feel like I got a good grip of the defense, and I'm ready to show them what I could do.
How much, I mean, obviously you'd rather be playing and that's easier, but at least in a first season, was that at least mentally a little bit more, you're able to take so much more in because you had to focus on rehab and just and kind of sitting back and learning?
Yeah. So I guess, I didn't get thrown into the fire per se. Like, I didn't have to learn defense and then go out there and perform. So I was blessed in that sort of, in that light. But, yeah, it was just a lot of mental reps, and oddly enough, the things that we had learned with Coach Rule football-wise, like it translated a lot up here. So I'm playing like a different position, so I had to learn like drops and coverage and stuff like that. But ultimately, things that I kind of touched on, and we have a real good coach in Mike Smith up here, and he's been a real great teacher for me, and so yeah, it was beneficial in that sense. Like I didn't have to go out there and perform; I just could sit back and just learn, really.
You looking forward to maybe being able to be across the sideline from Matt Rule sooner rather than later?
Yeah, definitely, man. It'll be good to see them. I know they got a good thing going up there, and it's crazy first year for him. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be weird. I didn't expect that to happen, but I guess that's how the world works.
And Greg, we had somebody on, I don't remember who exactly it was. I think it was Mo Porter, actually, that he had said, pretty early on that Matt Rule had told you guys the NFL was his dream. He wasn't surprised by it. I guess maybe the timing of it, but I mean, were you at all surprised when he made the move?
Not per se. The thing about Coach Rule is he never said that he would never go. He said if a deal came up that he couldn't deny, then, he would go. And I know that's everybody's goal, players, coaches, and everybody wants to get to the NFL. That's the pinnacle of what we do. So, I wasn't surprised. I was, this last season that they had as a team, really put him above everybody else. And for him to get that kind of opportunity, I know what they're going to do up there. And he took Coach Snow with him and Frank and all those guys. And I know they're going to show out up there. So, no, not surprised, but I was kind of mad because I couldn't get down to Baylor before he left. So, other than that, though, nah.
Do you still eat 15 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every day?
I was just about to ask him that.
Nah. I lost a little bit of weight actually since I've been up here, so I'm off the peanut butter and jelly.
Well, that was the thing we always remembered about you when we had you on when you committed in high school, was that you were just because you were kind of scrawny. And you were trying to...
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah, you were lean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had
that's a better word.
graduated. I think my last senior game in high school, I was 195.
Wow.
So yeah, I got to Baylor with Coach Kaz and them, and they were amazing, and they just emphasized, I guess, eating and how important it was. I never understood, calorie count and protein and all that jazz. So. Yeah, I put on a bunch of weight, but they showed me how to do it. And now, I'm grown now. I'm getting into my man body is what they call it. So the fat is kind of dropping off, and I'm trying to keep all the muscle I can. So yeah, trying to stay away from bread. Bread's really terrible for you guys, by the way. I don't know if you guys.
Hey, but if you're 17 and need to put on weight, then bread and peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
So, Greg, I talked to you at one point last year during the season for the Smoke Show podcast before Sikkim 365 Radio started, and they were having success and everything. But I mean, I haven't talked to you since the season wrapped up, even though it's been 6 months now. How proud were you of what you saw those guys do last year?
Super excited, man, and really just taken back of how the opportunity that I had. I got to sit back and I got to watch, like I said, people who are at the top of the business as far as what they do, the A-Rods, the the Darius Smiths, the Preston Smiths, the Kenny Clarks, you know what I mean, like the Aaron Jones. It was just it was surreal, and just to see that environment and see, and we came up short, which sucked, but just to see sort of that culture that was built, and you know, getting to learn how to win at that level, and getting the opportunity to be inside and be a fly on the wall and be a part of that I just thought was like a crazy blessing, you know what I mean? For it to be my first year and not being able to play and all that, for it to work out like that, I really learned a lot from everybody.
Can you try to explain the difference between, like we mentioned the weight, whatever, but just being a grown-ass man? Excuse my language for saying it that way, because, but you know, you get recruited. You were going to be like a gray shirt, if I remember correctly, because I remember what Phil Bennett said once you were on campus, what they expected. Then you go through all the transition, all the stuff, and how much you learned about not just football, the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, but just life and where you are now.
I think the biggest thing, I guess it says based on the first part of your question, like the physical standpoint is I'm stronger than I've ever been, but I'm not as heavy as I've been, faster than I've ever been, feel more sure of myself than I ever have, you know, and I guess it's just a culmination of, you know, I've been working out for years, and I guess it builds. And then as far as ups and downs, we had a few ups and downs at Baylor while I was there. So really that whole experience, my whole college experience, you know, experiencing 2 coaches and 3 position coaches and all the teammates that we lost and came through, and really like that whole college experience that I experienced with my brothers, it just taught me, you know what I'm saying, take things in stride, and it's not as serious as people make it out to be. And Coach Cosby used to have this great saying. He was like, you know, like if you get a flat tire in the morning, he's like, you didn't have a bad day. You know, people would say, oh, I had a bad day today. Like, no, you had a bad moment. You know what I mean? And, and you take that and you try to apply it. It's a lot easier to say than to do all the time. But yeah, just trying to look at things in a positive light, and just taking all the things that I learned from Coach Rule and Coach Kaz, and then all the people that I got blessed to meet with and talk to, and all the lessons I learned, man, and trying to apply that. And I think really, Baylor just kind of helped with any kind of ups and downs that I've had. You know what I mean? Like between Rule and Kaz, it's nothing that can keep me down. You know what I mean? I might have a setback or, you know, something like that. But mentally, the playing field that those guys were on, and the knowledge that they share with me personally is just, it's just bar none. You know, it's helped me as a man in life. It's helped me to teach my nephews and my little brother and my cousins and the people around me. You know, it's helped me become the man that I am. So, you know, there's ups and downs, but it's really all about you at the end of the day and what you're going to do with it.
Greg, as a young black man in this country, I mean, not only has everybody been dealing with COVID, but even though it's, I guess, a little bit quieter now just because time has gone on a little bit, there's still lots of discussion, and certainly a couple months ago, tons and tons of discussion about, you know, equality and treatment of black people, et cetera. Just kind of what were your thoughts as all of that was unfolding, and you know, just sort of what are your thoughts still at this point of sort of where we are as a country, where you see us as a country?
Yeah, I don't think it's been a secret that black people have been treated unfairly in the country. You know what I mean? I think the biggest thing with the George Floyd thing and all the media attention and all that happened is that, you know, the people who aren't around black people all the time, and the people who aren't as in tune with, you know what I'm saying, what might be going on socially, you know, I feel like it woke them up. And, you know, maybe y'all can attest to that. Some of the friends y'all have, you know, I had a lot of people just ask, like, is this true? Or, you know, what do you go through? And, you know, I've had a bunch of conversations with people, and it's funny that people just don't know, you know what I mean? You can't like express it enough. Like that video and that man having that guy's knee on his neck for 8 minutes and however long, and slowly dying and stuff like that. You realize it opens up a spectrum, and the best thing it did was open up a dialogue. You know what I mean? Like what happens after that is totally up to us as a country. I don't know that we're in a better spot than we were. I know that there's dialogue, you know what I mean? And that's I guess that's the first step, you know, and as far as the awareness and the things that have been brought up, I think it's time, you know, that we start, some sort of action, you know what I mean? Like everybody's aware now, you know what I mean? Like you can't use I didn't know anymore. You know what I mean? Like it was national attention all across the world. They were protesting in England and Australia. You know what I mean? Like you can't hide behind that anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's basically like it put everything in everybody's laps, and it's like, what are you going to do about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you going to react? Are you going to keep looking the other way? Are you going to address the issues? Are you going to try to go out and learn more about somebody who doesn't look like you? You know what I mean? Are you going to try and find common basis? And you know what I'm saying? Be a real American. Yep. Like that's what we're built on. You know what I'm saying? Like, and sadly enough, Americans have not been the most American. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. And for us to get back to the roots and the true meaning of what we were trying to do as a country. You know what I'm saying? And unhinging all the systematic oppression that's been for blacks and browns. And, you know what I mean? And how it's affected us as a race and how it's affected the country. You know what I mean? Because like y'all cover a bunch of black boys on Saturdays. You know what I mean? Y'all watch a bunch of black men on Sundays. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's affected by it. It's just it's nice that everybody nobody, like I said, nobody can hide behind the silhouette of like, no, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's good take, Greg. Thank you very much. I have to finish with this. How deep into your throat does that test go? I mean,
so I got lucky. I got lucky. So they shoved the first one up my nose, but not like all the way in my brain like I heard they were. And then the one I got up here in Green Bay, they just swabbed my nostril, so I actually got away with it.
So it's not,
that looked kind of painful.
Oh my God! Well,
yeah, I heard it was terrible.
Yeah, good luck with it. Hope everything comes back negative, which is a positive for you, and also you get back into what you need to do. Thanks for your time, young man, and have a great day.
Yes, sir, man.
Greg Roberts, Jr., Packers defensive lineman, linebacker, former Baylor and Nacogdoches High School star, with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Jeff Goodman, one of the elite college basketball writers. We have one on our own staff, and Jason King. Jeff Goodman on the Jared Butler decision, and then Jared Butler on the decision live at 4:30. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access, drive-thru open, and convenient, clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. They've got balconies in stock, including the newest one, Lineage. They were one of the first ones to get that, but they've got single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, brimstone, all of that in stock. Also, the most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco. Absolutely fantastic in their big walk-in fridge. If you're a craft beer fan, Riverbend Liquor and Wine is a place you need to check out. Family-owned and operated, a hidden gem in Waco, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street in Waco. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
What are you supposed to do when you pull up behind a truck that doesn't even have a hitch? I mean, it's like looking at plumber's crack. Do you cover your kids' eyes, look away, and switch radio stations? Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, asking for your help to end this embarrassing form of truck nudity. If you have a truck, at some point, you need to pull something. It could be a trailer to haul stuff off to the dump, maybe a jet ski, a boat, an RV, a horse trailer, even just a bike rack. The point is, put a hitch on your truck's backside. And at Pickup Outfitters, we actually install more hitches than anything else. Whether it's a receiver hitch, a gooseneck, or a fifth wheel, we'll cover your aspirations to not drive a nude truck. And all hitches are covered by the Pickup Outfitters lifetime installation guarantee. So cover your rear end with a new hitch from Pickup Outfitters on Lake Air Drive in Waco, where we're fighting to end truck nudity in Central Texas. Check them out on our website at createacommotion.com/hitches.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, Bod Pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change. Your change.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The Sikkim 365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
Jeff Goodman, basketball analyst and writer, columnist as well for Sikkim 365 Radio in our hit today. And could you imagine, Jeff, a better offseason than what Scott Drew and Baylor men's basketball have had?
No. I don't think Scott Drew could either. I mean, I think this is, other than COVID hitting the country, and obviously Scott can't go out to the Peach Jam and have his peaches and talk to some of the coaches on the recruiting trail and see guys in person. No, I think it's been pretty darn good for him. I mean, listen, we knew Teague was coming back, but again, you don't know with a kid pretty much having his degree. I think it's hard for a lot of kids right now who have their degrees, because they could be saying to themselves, the uncertainty of college basketball, I got my degree, I might as well just move on and let me start earning a living, even if it's overseas. So, you know, Teague, there was a little bit of uncertainty there, and Jared Butler, again, I think it's the smart decision on his part, but again, you know, what's the process going through this? You don't know if there's going to be a combine, not. So most kids that were kind of on the fence decided to go back to school.
Where do you have them preseason ranked now that everyone's back?
Listen, I haven't strayed. I've had them number one from the day the season ended till today. I have not for one day, not for one moment have I moved Villanova or Gonzaga or anybody ahead of them. I have kept Baylor at number one throughout and will not move them.
When you look at what they have done, where they were, and how disappointing the ending was because they couldn't finish, and they had maybe gotten a little bit tired or stale at the end of the year, and then to have what they now have coming back, they lose Gillespie. They'll hopefully be able to do something about that. Where they are, they've been good before, Jeff, but now it's at a different level. Is it just people now understanding what Scott Drew has done after all these years?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the beauty of what Scott's done is he's done it a couple different ways. I mean, again, he started it with those high-profile guys, right? The Quincy Millers and the Isaiah Austins and the Perry Joneses. And everybody's like, he's all recruit. He can't coach. He cheats. I mean, it's just been one thing after the other because he was outworking guys, and that's generally how it goes, right? If a school that shouldn't beat you beats you, generally it's he cheats. Well, the NCAA went in. They didn't find anything. And it probably did hurt him from a standpoint of getting top kids. I think maybe it did for a while because schools could use it against Baylor. But as it turns out, I think it's worked out because the beauty of college basketball these days is watch Villanova, and you get old and you have a chance to win. And that's kind of the blueprint. I've talked to Scott about it a little bit, and I saw them play each other in Myrtle Beach this past November, actually. And I think he's trying to be a little bit like Villanova because Jay Wright's had so much success with high character guys who aren't necessarily one and dones. You get older and you have a chance to beat a lot of those highly regarded freshman-laden teams, whether it's the Dukes or the Kentuckys that haven't won anything in a few years now.
Did this year's run at number one for as long as they were, and the high-profile wins they had during that stretch, like over Kansas and all that, did that maybe help in the recruiting that the kids he was talking to that would put Baylor in their top 5 finally said, okay, there's something substantial that I've seen here that I can grab onto now?
Yeah, and I think it's the way they played too, right? I mean, listen, kids don't really want to play zone defense. They don't. Like it's, Syracuse, same thing. I mean, they'll play it, but a lot of kids, they'd rather play man-to-man. And when Scott started doing that, I think it helped them a little bit from a recruiting standpoint. He's got a lot of guards that can make plays off the bounce. They're interchangeable in a sense, and that's what you watch the NBA right now. It's all about, like, versatile wings. That's what you want, right? I mean, that's what everybody's selling right now in the NBA more than anything else, whether it's Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, the young guys, Jason Tatum. So I think, that's what, to me, you want. You need good guard play, and that's what Baylor had last year, and he kind of let them go, and they really, really played tough and defended.
You had both of them on. Jeff Goodman Hoops with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. You've had both of them, and you had both of them on today. Your thoughts about, do you think one decision affected the other in any way?
So that conversation actually was a couple months ago, but I put that out there again because we talked about how good this Baylor team could be if everybody came back. No, I don't think one affected the other. I think they looked at it pretty much independently and tried to figure out what was best for each of them. But again, there were just so many question marks, right? Like people say, well, is there going to be college basketball? And that's a valid point, right? We don't know how much of a season, if there's going to be a season. But then I can flip it on anybody and say, well, you know what? I don't know if there's going to be a G League. I don't know if there's going to be an NBA season next year. Are they going to put them in the bubble for 4 or 5 months for the regular season? We don't know. We don't know if there's overseas money out there, or if, and I know it's not what it's been, but has it dried up? How much has it dried up? So I think for a lot of these kids, to be honest, somebody told me this earlier today. A coach said this. A lot of these kids can make more money from Pell Grant and from the stipend right now in college basketball than they could right now playing in the G League.
Wow.
Whoa.
Business. Yeah. Business 101.
Yeah, I never thought that we'd come to time when we'd say that. Do you have a concern about Baylor and their staying, like as you look at their roster going into next year? Because they only lose Bandu and Gillespie and then return everybody, plus get guys like Adam Flagler and, JTT and all these guys up onto the roster.
Well, here's my biggest thing. My biggest thing is usually those transfers that transfer up, the Flaglers, cut their numbers in half. So he averaged 16 at Presbyterian. My guess is the average is 7 or 8 this year, which is fine. All he's got to do is be your 8th or 9th guy. I just think, again, to me, the chemistry has got to stay what it was last year when they snuck up on some people, right? They played with a chip on their shoulder. This year, people are going to kiss their ass, tell them how good they are. They've got to be locked into the team rather than worrying, especially Jared and Maceo, about individually and the NBA and what they need to do, what the NBA people told them they need to do to get better, to be able to make the league. They can't be consumed with that. They've still got to stay true to what makes them really good. And also, obviously, you want to try to improve on your weaknesses, but don't get away from what made you great.
Jeff, thank you very much. A huge day again, another one for Baylor in college basketball. A lot of guys coming back. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
You got it, guys. Great talking to you. Be safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff Goodman, Goodman Hoops, with us on Sikkim 365 Radio.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sikkim 365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
You know, when Maceo Teague made his decision last week, we opened up the show with Scott Drew and then had Maceo Teague on. Today, we open up the show with Scott Drew, and we're now joined by Baylor senior guard, All-American Jared Butler on Sikkim 365 Radio. Jared, I know you had a workout. You just got finished with a local media Zoom meeting, and you're on with us from Sikkim 365 Radio. Are you relieved? What's the feeling like right now this afternoon?
Yeah, I'm super relieved, super, burden off my shoulders, and I'm glad to be back in Waco, glad to, be back home a little bit. So I feel a lot of peace, so I'm good. How are y'all doing?
We're doing great. We're doing great, Jared. You went through the entire process. You could have taken your name out at any time. You took pretty much the whole time to make your decision. What did you learn about yourself and what the future is going to hold for you next year, all through this spring and summer?
Yeah, I think about myself, just some things that I had to mature throughout the process, and I think I did mature just physically, mentally, spiritually. I had to learn how to be a professional, how to take care of my body, and how to be, a basketball player as my profession, which is kind of cool in a sense, but at the same time, a lot of hard work. So I think I learned that a lot. And, I think when you start talking about your business decisions as far as, what jobs you want in the world, you got to grow up a little bit. And I think that helped me a lot just throughout the whole process.
What was your favorite part, Jared, of just something that was maybe a little bit different? I'm sure you had ideas of the day that you would go to the NBA, what that process would look like. It's obviously a little different than normal, but what was kind of your favorite part or something that stood out?
Yeah, I think for me was just the surreal moments when NBA teams, they would like email me and say they wanted to interview me. That was really like humbling, and also like kind of like, I'm kind of like reaching my goals and my dreams that I've had since I was a little kid. It's just very exciting when the Golden State Warriors or Toronto Raptors are calling, and then having like an agent, which is pretty cool. So just little things like that just really just fill your soul and your spirit just because you dream about it since you're younger.
Do you feel like because of the way the season ended, the unknown, and you couldn't finish, had you been able to, had there been a Final Four, let's say, trip and maybe more, do you feel like maybe things would have changed with your decision?
Ooh, I think that's a great question, a great hypothetical situation. And I do think if we did have a chance to play in the NCAA tournament, I think maybe guys in the NBA will look at me different. I do believe that without a doubt, and I do think that could have changed some things for sure, without a doubt. I think that's fair to say.
Jared Butler with us, returning senior All-American guard with us on Sikkim 365 Radio.
How much did you talk to Maceo or anybody else on the team during the process about what he was doing, what you wanted to do, or was this you kind of moving yourself and taking in all the information on your own?
Yeah, we didn't collude throughout the whole process. We weren't doing. We were very focused on what's best for just us and our family, for sure. When I saw Maceo decided to come back, it was just warming to know that he made a decision, which is a hard, tough decision in general. So I was just excited just for that, and the video was actually really cool. What should I do? And then for me, it was just my decision. It wasn't because Maceo came back, I came back. It was definitely just my decision. So. But it's just icing on the cake that he did come back and I did come back, so it's pretty cool.
By the way, I'm trying to make you older than you are. I keep saying senior. I'm sorry, you're not. You're too young to be a senior. You're a junior.
Yeah.
Junior. Jared Butler with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Craig,
Jared, with the announcement, the unveiling, the video, all that, like, kind of take us through that process, the idea behind it, how you wanted to like let the world know your news.
Yeah, I think for me, Waco has just been a tremendous place, a place where I've grown and becoming a man and things of that nature. So the Waco idea and the Alico and the graffiti Waco sign was just something, a little touch to it to just give everybody to know that Waco is just kind of where I've been at and where I grew up, or not grew up, but grew up in the past 2 years. So that was cool. And then the whole idea was unfinished business. They started kind of the hashtag going already, so that was kind of cool already. The guy that Trey Mena did a great job. You know, we talked about it a lot, and we filmed a lot. We went to a lot of different places, so it was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
The family of Baylor, everyone that knows, in that team, we had a kind of a pop quiz that our staff at Sikkim365.com had about who's the favorite team you've ever covered at Baylor. And you know, our job is to cover you guys. It's not to like be favorites or whatever. But what last year's men's basketball team was like, can you think of anything that was better, even with the lack of an ending, than how close-knit that team was? What a family that team and the coaches really were?
Yeah, I think that's very hard to find just in the game of basketball, because it's just so easy to be selfish, so easy to not sacrifice for the team. And have guys that don't work hard. And I think we had just the complete opposite: guys that were willing to sacrifice, guys that were putting the extra time in, and guys that really valued winning. And I think we all reaped the benefits of that, with everybody, you know, getting some type of reward, just from Coach Drew to Devontae coming off the bench. Like, it's just really heartwarming when everybody's on the same goal and striving for the same thing. It's just really good, and it's hard to find. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I mean, everything has come up roses this summer for Baylor and everything. You didn't want to be the one guy who called and gave Coach Drew bad news, did you?
Yeah, no, I didn't. But that's kind of funny to think about it that way. But yeah, I guess I gave him a good early Christmas present. I guess, I don't know.
So, what was the reaction of Scott Drew and the rest of the staff? Equally as important as well. Obviously, the tremendous staff over there, but. Jared, when they did learn the news officially, I mean, what was their reaction to it?
Yeah, Coach Drew was just smiling, you know, just talking about anything at that point. You know how he is. We talked about Michael Jordan to other NBA guys coming out. We talked about just different random stuff, which is just to go to show how far our relationship has grown. But you know, he was really excited, and you know, of course, he's glad. I'm glad. So. It was pretty cool, not gonna lie.
Jared, it's all about getting better, and you all are already at a high level where you have been as a player, and you had your toe dipped in the water and could be, without question, and will be successful one day in the NBA. How do you yourself push yourself? You don't need anyone else to give you pep talks, although that's what the coaches will do, your teammates will do, and others will do. How do you keep from getting complacent? It's not easy. Sometimes you can say it, but you got to do it. What is it that fuels you?
I think a lot of things fuel me. Just being a competitor, number one, and wanting to win. Number two, wanting to leave a legacy at Baylor and put up a banner, a Big 12 championship, a national championship. Number three, my teammates and how hard they work, and how hard, like, you can't come into practice last 2 days ago because you'll get, you know, embarrassed. The coaching staff, they push us. They never compare ourselves to, you know, what we are. We're always trying to get better. And I think just so many other factors that just playing a part of not being complacent and not staying the same. I think in basketball, if you're staying the same, you're really just getting worse. And I think all those things are just going through your mind. And, you know, and we all want to be professionals too. So we all take this almost as like our job. So we're always trying to get better and be the best basketball player we can be each and every day. So that's just how I stop being, or, you know, strive not to be complacent. You know, so it's definitely a daily battle of fighting the temptation to be complacent.
All right, will you take more shots between games this year than you did last year? Because I don't know if you can do that.
I don't know. I'm getting kind of old at this point.
Come on.
You just wait.
I'll definitely make sure I'll just make every shot in the game, so that way I won't have to go shoot after the game. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Yeah.
Good answer.
You're getting old.
Yeah.
God. God. I'm 3 times older than you. I mean, it's like,
you probably are.
Man, you know what I love about right now and listening to you the last 8 to 10 minutes? You're happy. You're happy. This is not like, I know it was a tough decision. I know it was a decision to test it and what but you sound so much at peace. What's that like?
Yeah, what's that like? I don't know. I think it's definitely the Lord, my faith. And like I said, when I made the decision, if I didn't feel peace about it, and not just a sense of peace, like I meant like a couple of days of peace,
Mm-hmm.
and jumping over the fence and being like, okay, I'm not looking back. I don't want to look back. This is where I'm going. And that's what I felt. And I think the people around me, we talked about it for hours and hours. That's helped me a lot. And just, and being at Waco is not bad. I think I had an easy decision because either way it goes, I think everybody would have been happy for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Paul, Craig, anything else? Jared, congratulations, and thank you so much for jumping on with us on this big moment for you, for Baylor, and also for everyone that knows you and your family. Thanks for your time. Have a great week.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. Appreciate y'all.
I'll never forget, they had played a game. Jared had not shot the ball all that well. He scored probably 10, 12, 15 points, and I walk out of the Farrell Center after a post-game media session, up that tunnel, men's gym to the right, practice gym, women's to the left, and the doors open. And the two guys that were in there, and I took mainly the video of Jared shooting one after another, after you mentioned another, after another, after another, and they've got that machine now that catches the ball anywhere around the net, goes in or not, and then spits it back out at you like a tennis machine when it sends the ball your way and you hit it. And he sat there, and I just sat there, and then Maceo Teague's down at the other end. And then we hear about the Maceo Teague weight training or weight workouts that he does late at night. That's why that team was good. They never were satisfied.
Well, yeah, and they had all these guys that never left the gym.
Never.
Davion Mitchell, Charlie Melton told me, like, he'd have to go tell him, like, hey, dude, you got to go home for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay if you go home.
Yeah, sleep is good.
Yeah.
Sleep is good.
Yeah, you can definitely tell how much those guys in that program care about each other. I mean, we talk all the time about family atmosphere and the love that they have for each other, but it's just even more evident every time you talk to one of those guys. I mean, I've heard players, pull their name out of the draft hat before, and they seem at peace with their decision, but he seems like genuinely giddy over it. Like, he's super excited. It's very clear. I think that's great that he's so at peace with the decision that he's come to. And I'm certainly not imagining that it was a very easy one, especially right now. Like, I know that maybe he's not as highly thought of in NBA circles because he kind of alluded to that with, them not seeing him in the tournament and how that probably would have made a difference for him. But, even if there is room for him to improve, and certainly there is, I mean, he could have still taken the money. He could have taken the money, and if it didn't work out in a couple years, go to Europe and make money. But he's decided to come back, and I think that just speaks volumes of what Scott Drew's got going on right now, amongst various other things that speak volumes as well. But that's huge news for Baylor basketball.
By the way, Oklahoma had some bad news today. Caleb Kelly, a tremendous defensive player, linebacker, Craig, tore his ACL. But then also a note where Tanner Mordecai suffered an injury and will be out indefinitely. The former Midway quarterback as well. Of course, a lot of people have been thinking about Spencer Rattler as the automatic at quarterback, but that's a little bit disconcerting. That's from Oklahoma Sooners, all_Sooners.com. Let me see here before it goes to a pay.
Kelly had just come off of an injury.
Yeah.
He had just come off of, and I don't remember exactly if it was something similar, but I am seeing the Tanner news now, and that's really unfortunate for him because knowing Tanner a little bit, he's probably sick and tired of hearing about Spencer Rattler, at this point, and no one's given Tanner a chance to win that starting quarterback job, but knowing, like we all do, haven't seen him at Midway, he's not going to just, roll over. But an injury would certainly, not help his chances any way.
Yeah, the last thing he needed was missed time. So it says it's not going to require surgery, his injury, but he will miss time, practice time. Wow. So linebacker Caleb Kelly out for what appears to be ACL. And it seems like Oklahoma every year has a defensive player, a star-type player, who loses most of the year with an injury.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they just keep winning.
Pretty much every year, but I was right on Kelly. He missed 10 games last year with another knee injury.
4:43 coming up next. Jeff Kozowski from Bremont. We'll have sports attorney Dan Lust at 5, and the newest member of the Baylor women's basketball program, 5:30, Sikkim 365 Radio.
Are you in the market for a new home? Are you trying to sell the one you've got? Do you have a home that you want to sell? Maybe you don't live in it. You're just trying to unload that house. Well, you need a realtor in your corner that can guide you through anything you'll encounter. Contact my good friend Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty, and let them be your go-to source as you search for that perfect home. Just give Lance a call, 254-214-3713, or visit his webpage for the most current listings at lancedonaldson.exprealty.com. Lance is a great dude. You're going to love spending time with him anyway when you're going around looking at houses. You want somebody you can talk to who can hear you on your level, who can meet you where you live, and that's what Lance does. Fantastic listener, fantastic human being. You're going to love looking for houses with Lance Donaldson. Again, 254-214-3713 or online at lancedonaldson.exprealty.com.
Summertime means vacation time, and when you hit the road, do it in the vehicle of summer, Jeep. At Allen Samuels, it's our huge summer clearance event. It's on. Get employee pricing on brand new 2020 Jeep Gladiator Sport Editions, plus an additional $1,500 in retail bonus cash. And ask about 0% and no payments for 90 days on other Jeep models. It's time to say goodbye. Adios, 2020s from Allen Samuels.
Ask for details. All offers with approved credit.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel & Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel & Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel & Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Do you love Friday Night Lights? Would you like to have a bigger role than just watching the action to ensure the games are played fairly and safely? The Waco football chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO, can make that happen. The 2020 Texas high school football season is right around the corner, and we need you to be a part of it. There's a shortage of officials across the state in all sports, and you can help. If you love the game and want to be a part of the solution, you can help our local student athletes continue to participate in games they love. Never officiated before? Don't worry. Waco Football Chapter can help and prepare you to make the right call. And right now, Introduction to Football Officiating class is accepting registrations. Make your first grade call today by looking us up and contacting us on Facebook at Waco Football Chapter or at our website, wacofootballchapter.com. Find out more about the Waco Football Chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO. Go to wacofootballchapter.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sikkim 365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
Butler got to go to work right now on Garrett to get a shot away. He will, and he got a three.
Boy, he has some range and confidence.
It was great to talk to Jared Butler back at Baylor. Also Scott Drew, among others. Heisman Trophy winner Ty Detmer, former Baylor defensive linebacker and Packers linebacker Greg Roberts. And we've also focused on high school football workouts getting back to normal with Charlie Roten from Rogers, Tori Pullen of Connolly, their all-state defensive lineman, and Jeff Kozowski of Bremont joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Jeff, because of all that high school sports has been through, was today not because of COVID, but was today a little bit different for you and what it meant because you had lost football for a while?
Well, we were just happy, hadn't done anything. We left school in the middle of March with what we, had a pretty good little baseball team there. And so we just, of course, we got to do summer workouts. So that was a plus. But as far as just back to some sense of normalcy, yeah, today kind of got us back to normal.
How was your participation this summer? Did the kids, because they had been locked in their house for so long, did they come out full force, ready to go?
Oh, yes. We had probably double the kids that we normally do. By the time that we were allowed to do summer workouts, I think everybody had been so cooped up by then that we had really, really big numbers for summer workouts.
Coach, were you able to handle that pretty okay? I mean, it sounds like it was somewhat unexpected, but still, did that make anything more complicated than normal?
No, we just figured out how to separate them out, and of course, what it did was it took more time than normal because we couldn't all get in the weight room at the same time. But so we spent time outside doing drills, and then we switched and went inside so we could keep the kids apart.
Jeff, you had a hell of a run last year. We did your game that was down. Paul, where was that?
Was that Rogers?
Yeah, and just a fantastic football game with what Anthony meant to you at running back and the kind of team you had. Where are you as far as what you have coming back this year?
Well, we've got 6 kids on each side coming back. Of course, JT's the big blow. We had a good nucleus of seniors that were just really solid, good, hard-nosed football players that we lost. But, with Seth and Hunter Woganowski and Riley Slofka, and we got a good nucleus of kids coming back.
The fact that you're back on the field and now it seems to be in a routine, and hopefully everybody does what they're supposed to do to stay safe and healthy. Does it feel the same now? Now, despite the delay, that, okay, this is what we would normally do the first Monday in August?
Yes and no. What's weird about it is you've got all the COVID issues with prevention, I guess is what you want to say. You're in the mask when you're not actively participating, and you got to be careful and just a lot of different things that are going on now that weren't last season.
All right, Jeff, thank you very much for jumping on with us. Good luck. Enjoy it. It's good to have high school football practices back.
Thanks, sir.
That's Jeff Kozowski, head coach at Bremont. That JT Anthony, he was fantastic. What was it, Rockdale?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Rockdale. We weren't
was it
Rogers.
Rockdale?
Yeah, Rockdale.
And they had that shootout with Falls City, I think it was. It's a fantastic football game. They eventually lost the next week.
Yeah, that was a crazy game.
He put up about 300 yards. He was unbelievable. Of course, Jeff's won state championships, head coach in 14, 15, 16.
Well, it started off really bad for them.
Yeah.
It started off really bad, and it was like, well, we get to do one Bremont game, and then they came roaring back.
Yeah.
It was a wild game.
Won the game in overtime, I think, with maybe an Anthony score, like in double overtime. I can't just flashing back during that time. It was during the holidays, if I recall.
And Rashad Paul ended up at Arkansas State, right?
Yeah, he transferred.
Boy, he was so good.
I mean, I know he hadn't been in Bremont in like 4 years. But
during that time, you had Rashad Paul at Bremont. You had Trayon Smith doing his thing at Yo. Had some dudes.
Yeah,
winning.
Tanner Mordecai at Midway.
And again, it's sad, the news about Mordecai. I don't know the specific injury, but he's going to be out indefinitely, but no surgery required. Let's get into a few other stories. 5 o'clock hour, Dan Lust of sports law attorney on the Pac-12 players and what they're saying about not playing. Jawan James, Broncos, announced he'll skip the upcoming season. He just signed a 4-year, $51 million deal in March. Was scheduled to earn $10 million base salary this season. They just had a baby boy in May. And he's going to opt out.
It's a lot of money to turn down, but hey, you can't really blame the guy with a newborn, and so,
Yeah,
he'll still make, what is it, 100K
I think
or
it's
whatever?
300, isn't it?
300?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think I could live off that too.
Yeah, I think there's levels. There's 300, there's 100, and there's 10,000.
Odell Beckham, you see this quote?
Yeah, but then he's going to camp, so.
We're not ready for football season, so why are we trying to push forward? It's obviously for their money, and yet he showed up and was working out today.
I mean, he's right. Look, he's right. I mean, he's not completely wrong there. Like, but there's also, like, I think that everybody's right to try, but he's not wrong that, like, what's driving. If money wasn't a big deal here, if they could just take a mulligan and everybody would be fine, then they would. Because there's more problems than solutions right now. And so if they could just take a mulligan and be like, look, guys, don't worry about it. Everybody's going to be fine. This doesn't affect the economy at all or anything like that. Then everybody would. It wouldn't be a big deal.
By the way, you want to know about how evil social media can be?
I already know that.
Well, I mean, we get examples. For example, I actually just put up what made sense to a lot of people about the Gary Patterson accusations, and everyone was like, man, you can't have that kind of opinion. They weren't ripping me. They were like, that's not the way it's supposed to be, the crash and burn and bloodshed social media. So Jonathan Isaac doesn't kneel during the national anthem last week. He gets on, he talks about his faith and religion, and also says that he believes in Black Lives Matter, but he didn't want to kneel. He tore his ACL, and some of the reaction, what?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
God,
karma
who
and whatever.
are we as people? We're savages.
Why are you surprised?
I never said I was surprised. It's like, why? Who are we as people that we're that evil that you're like, well, that's what he gets?
Well, I mean, you're also bringing attention to it by mentioning it, though.
I will say,
well, it's a story.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look, there's millions of people in this world, and not everybody's smart. Not everybody's handsome. Everybody's different. Everybody's got different opinions. And I will say this, some of these people that say some of the most outlandish things on social media that gets attention, it's exactly what they want and they need, because they're miserable people. They're not people that are happy with their own lives, and they love when other people have to go through tough times. And so who gives a F what that guy thinks? He's probably a loser. I would bet my next paycheck on it that he's a loser. And you know what? There's a lot of losers out there, and there's a lot of miserable, disgusting people that love to throw stuff like that out there. But I guarantee if you throw it at them, they'd play victim in 2 seconds. And so screw that person.
Yeah. Freedom, and what I think people don't understand, but freedom of speech and freedom of choice and all that is not the freedom to make someone say what you want them to say.
Right.
It's to understand. So the argument with Colin Kaepernick, for most of it, wasn't that he should or shouldn't be doing it. For a lot of people, it was people should just let him do what he wants to do because it's his right to do that. Well, if we're now off that argument for the most part and people are saying, like, okay, now I get why people kneel, then it shouldn't be if you don't kneel, you're a racist.
Right.
It should just be you should be able to make that choice. That was the point, and people are missing it.
I'm telling you right now, I know that I won't be alone in this way of thinking. I've kind of already decided what I will do in the circumstances of the national anthem or whatever. But if I'm somebody who was thinking about, I think I'm going to kneel, that's the type of story that'll make me go the other way. That's the type of story that'll make me stand out of defiance for, the criticism and those types of things. I will ultimately do what I feel the most comfortable doing and what I feel, I stand for and things like that. But, I mean, yeah, there's that type of backlash that you react that way to a guy like that, and it's like, oh, so everything's cool as long as we all kneel, but if we don't, then there's an issue all of a sudden, and this person's a POS, and I just think that's ridiculous. And you're the type of people who do perpetrate that are actually harming the ultimate mission.
I agree. Jonas Cespedes disappeared, decided to opt out for the Mets.
What a
Aaron
story
Judge,
that is.
Yeah, Aaron Judge just homered again. He's got 23 home runs in 4 games. He's on pace to hit 45 home runs in 60 games, 122 if it was a 162-game schedule.
Pretty salty.
Good friend of mine, Dickie Meeks, longtime high school football coach in Texas, won a state championship in '89 at Chapel Hill, then beat Chapel Hill in 2010 as head coach at Henderson, came over from Louisiana. He had been there for 8 years as a head coach, passed away today at the age of 66. He coached at Pittsburgh, Henderson, Pine Tree, Mount Vernon twice, where now Art Browse is. I bring him up because he was a part of a wave of coaches from Louisiana that came into that East Texas area that changed the culture of that area when it comes to championships. Pat Collins, Longview, now John King. John Outlaw was from Arkansas, Sherman right after that, to Lufkin. Mike Valerie won a state championship at Kilgore. Those guys changed a proud section of football in the state. And he passed away from dementia. He was 66 years old. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson bought the XFL team, bought the XFL, bought the actual league.
Yes, he and his business partners, he owns the whole league. They own the whole league. And $15 million, which for it's only 7.5 really for him, but for him that's nothing. That's like the first part of one movie.
Yeah,
it's he and his ex-wife. They're business partners. They've maintained a good friendship, and they're business partners, and they're highly, highly successful. So it's him and her, and I guess whatever company's back. I mean, their company that's backing both of them, and then what other investors. But hey, it's a cheap deal for an entire league. $15 million is nothing. It's a drop in the bucket for The Rock, and we'll see what he does with it.
Can they bring Oliver Luck back?
Yeah, well, maybe they. I don't know. When we come back.
Probably retirement now with that XFL money.
Dan Luss, sports attorney, on the Pac-12 players and what they're discussing, and also the opt-out of NFL players and more. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one, commercial, farm and ranch, or residential. Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Dr. Kent Petty wants you to be the highest performance man you want to be. Are you sluggish, lack energy? Do you suffer from low sex drive? Petty Clinic Low T offers discounted comprehensive lab work to check on your various levels that can make a difference. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy and stamina and improved sex drive, but also the healthiest and high performance man. Screening for cardiac heart disease risk, EKG, cholesterol panel, blood pressure monitoring, testosterone or growth hormone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, and prostate cancer screening. Petty Clinic Low T offers replacement therapy for testosterone or growth hormones, weight management therapy, and nutritional advice. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy, stamina, and improved sex drive, but the healthiest and highest performance man. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodward. PettyClinicLowT.com.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi. Great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco. House-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine. Best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lakeyard Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Looks like they want this one up. Oh, get up. And Chu liked it there. Hammers that one deep to right. That could be wet. It's gone! Into McCovey's Cove. A two-run blast by Chu. His second home run of the year, and he has stretched the Rangers' lead to 5-1.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Ben Erlinson, who'll navigate you through today's financial climate. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
When it comes to sports, when it comes to legal, sports, attorney, law, whatever, Dan Lust joins us, and he's our guy, host of At Con Detrimental, at Forbes contributor, also attorney and sports law analyst, heard on ESPN, Sirius XM, CBS, and Fox Sports, and also here on Sikkim 365. Dan, it seems like every time we have you on, there's something new. And let's start with, what was your reaction and what have you kind of dug into when it comes to the Pac-12, the players, in wanting some changes or threatening not to play?
So, first of all, thank you for having me on. I think the part that I was a little surprised at on the Pac-12 front, it's not really getting as much play in the media as I think it probably should. I mean, one of two things could happen here, which are kind of unprecedented in sports. The first, obviously, is that the Pac-12, these players, the report that it's up to, a couple hundred players, that those players could sit out, and you could just have an absence of either teams or an absence of players across, the Pac-12, which is definitely big news. And the other end, which might be more realistic at this point, there's a report coming out of Washington State that 5 players were already kicked off of the team for having been a part of this "We Are United," Players Tribune message. So the other end of this, right? We are not in a situation where these players are protected by a union. There is no protection for college athletes standing up against the school. You could lose your scholarship. And that's just the way that college sports works in the absence of a union. So the other end of this is that a number of players are kicked off of a football pitch, which you would hate to see. But I think, the second one's probably not so far-fetched. So I'm surprised it hasn't gotten complete play outside of really the college football landscape.
Dan, obviously, players have discussed unionizing before. This is kind of has that feel to me of that. Again, it seems that while they have a plan here or they have an idea, this isn't as organized or as big as it would need to be to really create much of a dent.
I'm going to agree with you, and I think you said it. I kind of just see it too. This isn't really as organized. If you just kind of look at these demands, I think they leave a little bit to be desired. The reason maybe, and I'm going to say the term, maybe a little bit rushed. August 3rd was the earliest that mandatory activities could start in the Pac-12, and August 17th was the earliest that camp could start. So they were kind of under the wire to get this thing in ahead of time. So I think there is some potential chance to have some Title IX challenge to this, because I don't really think women's sports are being adequately protected under this. If all of the money is going to be divided up in between each sport, right? If football players can get 50% of the football revenue and basketball can get 50% of the basketball revenue, I'm just kind of objectively, the women's sports don't generate money for the school. All the kind of profits from football and basketball are spread around to all of the sports. So it's inviting of Title IX talent. So I don't, outside of not being perfectly organized, I think kind of substantively, you can't have an all or nothing approach with all of these demands when one of them, the finances, really runs afoul of Title IX.
Dan, I haven't seen if the Pac-12 has responded in any way or not, but just based on your experience, how would you expect them to respond?
Not so quickly. I mean, this takes. One of the demands is to have 6 years of health insurance, something like that for hundreds of thousands of players. That takes maybe a year to get done. It's not going to get done in 10 days. So, 12 wants to set a standard of responding to stuff like this that's kind of thrown on them on their lap on the eve of the season. I don't think the Pac-12 is going to listen to the players and give them they want a response in writing that they're going to agree to all 5 of these. And that's not to say that some of these, like a coalition to help promote, racial equality within college sports. I think that's something that Pac-12 would go for in the climate especially in the climate that we're in today. But the problem is the Pac-12, these players, they're saying, we want all or we're not playing at all, which I don't think is the right way to approach this.
Well, then who gave them the advice? Because it's one thing, it seems like to me, that you can make demands or you can threaten or you can have things that actually seem to make sense that you want. But when does there come a time, Dan, where now student athletes feel like no matter what it is, everybody is going to take their side and they make demands that only hurt the cause for things that matter?
I mean, I try to be a voice of reason online. I mean, I just posted the story. I wanted to see what people said. And I want to say it's probably 50-50 that people think that, there will be other players ready to take their shoes if they choose not to play. And I think kind of just an important note in all of this, if in theory, right, we've seen strikes across, professional sports. Strikes are only as strong as all of the players buying in. I've seen reports that there were a couple hundred. I've seen seen reports that it's, maybe just 100, but just 100 football players in a Pac-12, that's about 10 players a team. That's not as strong as the entire Pac-12. So I think we still need to kind of see that part of it. I mean, if they really do have every single college football player on every team, that's one thing. But, if they just have 100 guys in total or 200 in total, 20 guys a team, it's not really going to move the needle. So remains to be seen how many players are really behind this at the end of the day. And you don't want another situation like we had with Northwestern. I mean, everyone thought they were going to be able to get a union. It didn't work, just created maybe a lot of good energy. But if this was kind of rushed into and it's another kind of, we'll say a high stakes bluff, that's not going to look good for college sports overall.
Wouldn't it make more sense? I mean, not that they, to plan out a union when NIL is in place and all the other reforms that have to happen here in the next year or so?
Yeah, I agree. We were looking at California. They gave the NCAA 4 years to figure this out. The Pac-12, these athletes are giving the Pac-12 10 days to figure this out, which is just not realistic. Even if even if Pac-12 wanted to, conform to these demands, they don't have enough time to figure out, 6 years of health insurance and to divvy up 50% of revenue. It's just not doable. So I almost, I hate to say it because I think there's a lot of good stuff in this letter, but it's almost dead on arrival. It's just these demands are not practicable to be done before the college season starts. Now there is, guys, just to put it on the radar, there is a world where the college football season gets pushed back a couple months, and maybe that's what they're kind of planning for. They're preemptively doing this. But that remains to be seen. I think on its face, these are almost impossible for the Pac-12 to comply with.
What is going on, Dan Lusk, with a sports law attorney? What's going on with the NFL opt-out deadline? We're now seeing about, on average, what it seems like almost two players a team in the 50 range or whatever. We saw the quote from Odell Beckham about whether football should be back or not, which you had some discussion on that. But are they changing the end line or the start line here when it comes to the opt-out? Are they doing that like in progress?
So at least the last I've heard was from an ESPN report that the opt-out deadline looks like it's going to be Thursday or Friday. The reason that deadline is very important, if you read my timeline, I'm all over Rob Manfred. But one of the things that those guys forgot, they didn't put in a Major League Baseball opt-out deadline. So that's why you have rolling opt-outs of guys as high as Yoenis Cespedes or Lorenzo Cain, who have played games during the season and then just opted out. So football said, we want to be able to plan for this ahead of the season. We want to be able to sign free agents and have some plan of attack. We can't have guys opting out in week 4 after the team goes 0-3. So this Thursday deadline is going to be a hard deadline. That's the Thursday or Friday is what they're looking at. So I would really kind of just watch this if you're one of these people that are trying to put a futures bet on football. I would really hold that until that deadline passes because football doesn't want to allow opt-outs after that point.
So, but if somebody does want to opt out, there would be obviously a salary penalty for that. Like if they decide to. Yeah.
I would almost say it's the equivalent of breach of contract. It's almost a holdout at that point that you're not playing and they're not going to pay you and your contract's not going to roll over. So there was a talk at some point that the NFL wasn't going to allow any type of opt-outs and that they were going to just fine you if you didn't show up to camp. So I don't know what the mechanics look like that day. They haven't finalized what this is going to look like if you are a late opt-out, but just use your imagination. If the team is 0-9 and you're a little bit nervous about COVID, the more losses that pile up, the more likely that you want to opt out. So, this opt-out deadline is not finalized, but we know the players are trying to get a little bit more, we'll say, a little bit more from the NFL in order to agree to a hard deadline, which baseball does not have.
All right, Paul, anything else?
I did want to ask you, Dan, I saw that you retweeted this, but what are your thoughts on The Rock purchasing the XFL?
I am all full of wrestling GIFs, wrestling videos today. So, I think it's a tremendous buy for The Rock. He's buying very low. There is, at this point, no functional equivalent of the NBA's G League for football. And for $15 million, The Rock, we'll put it this way. Vince McMahon is not so cool. The Rock is very cool.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, you buy a house and you're The Rock and you just have your name on it and you sell the house. That house is going to sell for a better return as it would before. So I think The Rock made a very, very smart investment, very good for the brand. And I think if you don't buy into The Rock, I think you're a jabroni.
Perfect.
That is the only reason.
Yeah.
That's one of the main reasons that Dan joins us on these sports legal type conversations. Hey, man, thanks a lot. At Sports Law Lost is a great follow on Twitter, and you get a lot of almost immediacy when there's stories that are about legal issues in sports, and he gives us a great insight as well when he joins us as well. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. Have a great night.
Always a pleasure, guys.
Dan Lust, Sports Law Lost on Twitter. You know you're pretty good when you're on Fox, CBS, Sirius XM, and ESPN. It's not like you're one. And then, of course, he does a lot with us. His podcast at Con Detrimental. And that's available as well on his Twitter feed.
Yeah, that was fantastic. It's always fantastic stuff and real clarification. And look, the college athletes are probably, when there's name, image, and likeness, especially the way that you've heard the higher-ups talk about it in their Senate hearings, there's probably going to be some sort of unionization attempt on the large scale. But right now, there's no rule. So what would they be joining up to do? And that's just a way to join up and break up if you don't have a...
I haven't seen the blowback yet on this, but Nick Rolovich, the wide receivers coach, Washington State's Nick Rolovich.
Yeah, he's head coach.
When he was telling Cassidy Woods, be careful about, if you want to opt out because of the belief when it comes to, social justice and culture, fine. But if you want to do it for other reasons, watch out. If you want to opt out because of COVID and health and safety, I'm good. But this group is going to change how things go in the future for everybody, at least our school. Be careful what you're doing here. So will there be a backlash for him giving the guy advice because he's trying to quiet him, or is he's maybe giving him legitimate advice?
Yeah, if he's trying to quiet him, then that's probably not a good thing. But if he's trying to just tell him, like, listen, everything you do has consequences, just know that.
Yeah, okay, Woods wanted to continue to work out, but he said that would add, that it sends a mixed message to others, noting that resources would need to go to players who are planning to play this season.
Well, the conversation was recorded. For one, so it's out there, and I'm sure we'll hear it maybe at some point. But so yeah, the basic gist of it is him, letting them know that if you're trying to unionize and sit out and do all those types of things, there could be repercussions for that. But apparently, this player, Cassidy Woods, has pre-existing health conditions. I'm not sure what those are, but you can understand why somebody with those would be wanting to sit out. Now, all the details of it as far as like being allowed to work out and things like that, I probably don't know enough about it, but Yeah, I mean, Rolovich is rolling the dice by just being up front as possible, but that's one thing these college athletes have to understand. You're not Odell Beckham Jr., and you are not Nick Foles. We can put somebody else who's 2 years younger than you and just as talented in your scholarship spot, and you could be without. So there's repercussions for everything, even though we're in many cases, I think a lot of things are done nowadays, and there's like an expectation that there's just not going to be any repercussions, and that's not realistic. So, yeah, it all sounds good, all sounds great. Hey, I'm going to opt out. I'm not going to play. I'm going to take a stand. But, okay, if your scholarship gets pulled, whether that's right or wrong, don't be surprised.
So Baylor released their latest COVID results. Today, the active cases is now 3. Overall cases that have been positive since June the 1st, 45. So it's up 3. Symptomatic 2, asymptomatic 1. New cases since last week, 3. Total number of cases being monitored, 7. This number, by the way, the 7 includes primary contacts. The 3 is new cases from multiple sports that are not all currently at Waco. What was interesting, Craig, is I don't know if you saw this, but Jim Bertuno, who writes for the Associated Press, said, we still don't have a total number of tests or positives from Texas since they started reporting in June. We got an early update, about a dozen positives. 5 weeks later, we're told no current positives in between or how many tests, who knows, hook them. It's like that information has been like ran dry, yet Baylor has been right there every Monday throwing this out and giving us exactly what's going on, which is what I think every school or anyone who's associated with the school would want them to do.
Yeah, Oklahoma's been very good about it as well. I'm sure there's others, but I like the transparency that Baylor has gone forward with in reporting these numbers. I think it's just better for everyone's peace of mind. And, like, look, if 1 week it's really bad and there's like 15 cases like we've seen other schools deal with, then it's better to know than not to know, in my opinion. It's not something I'm going to rack my brain about, but it might tell me, like, hey, maybe I need to be a little bit more careful around Waco right now because potentially there's a little bit more going on than normal. So I think that it's good for the public health and public knowledge to have these types of statistics. And I would be kind of pissed off if I was a Texas fan and they weren't reporting those numbers any longer.
Yeah.
I mean, I would wonder why you're not doing that.
That's going to be one of the greatest concentrations of people in one spot.
Yeah.
That you're going to have around. So, yeah, you would want to know.
In a big city like Austin, where they've had their issues, I would definitely want to know what's going on UT's campus. But, I'm sure they have their reasons why.
All right, so when we come back, Kamaria McDaniel, she's a player, an all Big Ten guard from Penn State. She made the announcement today she's transferring to Baylor. She will not be able to play this season, but be eligible to have a year left following this upcoming season. Baylor at guard right now, they're in pretty good shape with Dede Richards and obviously Moon Urson, among others. So, and then Dejanay Carrington. So she'll be ineligible to play this year despite the transfer from Penn State. She had a couple of teammates that transferred to Texas from Penn State as they had a coaching change. So we'll come back with her. So far today, Deontay, is he working today?
Yes.
Okay. This might be the record.
What?
Guess.
It might be, yeah. I mean, we've got 9.
And is this 10 coming up or 9 coming up?
No, we have 9 total, I believe.
Scott Drew on Jared Butler. Torrey Pullen on Connolly back to work out the All-State linemen. Ty Detmer, Charlie Roten, Greg Roberts, Jeff Goodman, Jared Butler, Jeff Kozlowski, and Dan Lust. And then we still have Kamaria McDaniel.
Oh, it is
well.
10. It is 10.
It'd be 10.
So that was 10, yeah. Definitely the record, according to Deontay.
All right, we need to fix that Jared Butler thread on the site.
It's working very well.
It's not working.
It's extremely working well. I've checked it.
It says video cannot be played error.
That is your browser, sir.
All right, when we come back, Kamaria McDaniel, she's going to Baylor, or she's coming to Baylor, or she will be at Baylor. She's next on Sikkim 365 Radio. IdealMRI.com. Why Ideal MRI? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Convenience, and a huge reason, cost. IdealMRI.com, premium quality MRI is convenient, affordable, on average. An MRI can cost you, on average, about $1,100 every time. Their cost, our cost at Ideal MRI, $497 or less every time. Why Ideal MRI? Every scan is performed on a state-of-the-art machine. I've been in it when it came to my left shoulder. Read by a board-certified expert, but they can have the level of convenience, comfort uncommon in healthcare. And as I mentioned, the money and the cost is so much less. Hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars less. And they do it, idealmri.com, with a fixed, transparent, affordable price. And that's the way it should be, correct? Their team of doctors and techs and specialists and much more. It's idealmri.com in the Central Texas marketplace. If you have bumps and bruises or a doctor has told you, man, we need to get a little bit better look at this, and it's an MRI, ask your doctor about idealmri.com. They'll know all about them in the Central Texas marketplace, putting a great team together and also helping lower the cost of health care for you at idealmri.com. How often have you said it's time to get in shape every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday, 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 7. And personal trainers, Christy London and Randall Corley. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna. And now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere. And yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It's summer. Time to go somewhere in a new Jeep from Allen Samuels. It's our huge summer clearance event featuring 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days on our hottest models. Pick a new 2020 Jeep Cherokee Latitude with $5,750 in total values or 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or the fun 2020 Jeep Renegade with up to $7,000 in total values or 0% for 72. Adios 2020s from Allen Samuels.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sikkim 365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
So, on a day where Jared Butler announces he's coming back, on a day Texas high school football practices start around the state of Texas for anyone 4A and below, on a day where the Big 12, by the end of the night, you would think the presidents will vote on what kind of football schedule will be allowed, whether there's going to be Just 9 conference games and a non-conference game or whatever they're going to do. They'll do that, hopefully, and get to a decision tonight. There was one other decision that came down. Kamaria McDaniel played at Penn State. She's from the state of Michigan, announced she's transferring to play at Baylor. Will sit out this upcoming season to play for Kim Mulkey in 2021-2022, and she joins us now on Sikkim 365 Radio. So, Kamaria, thank you very much. Are you in Austin right now?
Yes, I'm actually in Austin visiting 2 of my former teammates. They're current student athletes at UT Austin. Yeah,
so because they also went from where you were and then started to play for Texas, and now you're leaving as well. Your thoughts about the decision? What came into it? Was it the coaching change? What kind of did you make that decision based on?
I made my decision based on my happiness. I think, in life it's important for us to prioritize situations that will make us the happiest, and that's what I did. No slight to Penn State or anything they're doing over there. I feel like they're going to do great things, and I love all of my teammates that go there and that I've had that have graduated. It just wasn't the place for me anymore, and that's just how I felt in my heart, and I felt like I should trust my gut.
So you're a grad transfer, but you're going to sit. You're not a grad transfer, okay? But so sitting out this year. How tough will that be, though, not to play?
Very tough. I consider myself a pretty big competitor, but I'm going to learn how to channel my energy and try to make the team better and compete and practice as much as I can, because those would be like my games. So I just make sure I'm always being competitive with any chance that I get. And just continue to work on my craft, sharpen my knives, and keep adding to my bag. And, just maximize my time. I'm a big believer in, whatever situation you're in, how you perceive it is your reality. So I'm going to just have a positive outlook and know that it's better is coming. I'll be able to play eventually.
Had you previously talked to many of the Baylor staff or even to Coach Mulkey when you were being recruited previously, or was this all sort of brand new and just what has it been like getting to know Coach Mulkey and her staff?
This is pretty brand new to me. And, I was recruited I was recruited good out of high school, but I had an ACL injury going into my 11th grade year, and it kind of took me a while to get back to the athlete that I am now, and that kind of stunted my recruitment. So, I'm thankful for that experience in itself, because I feel like every experience I went through has taught me something. But getting to know Coach Mulkey and the rest of the staff has been very good, and I think that they can help me a lot, and this is going to be a great move for me.
Kamaria McDaniel joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio, who made the decision she's transferring to Baylor. You entered the transfer portal very late, like much later than most. I'm not saying that some don't enter late, some do, but was that kind of was late in the process? Was that later than you wanted to be? And do you feel like because of that maybe there are even some that didn't know you were there?
Well, I explained this to Coach Mulkey, but I went through a lot during quarantine. I lost my grandfather to COVID. Almost lost my grandmother to COVID. My mom had COVID and my uncle had COVID. I hadn't seen my mom for 2 months. So, I had been contemplating it and pondering on it before COVID really struck my family so bad. But once all of that started happening, I couldn't really focus on basketball. It was like bigger things going on. And I kind of stunted my thought process. I didn't know if I was thinking clearly, if I was thinking off emotion. It was hard to decipher my thoughts at the moment. And that's why I put it off so long. But I feel like God makes no mistakes, and everything was perfect timing. So.
Yeah, that's hard to hear. That I'm sorry that you had to go through what you did. I mean, nothing matters when you're losing family or family's sick. I mean, whether you are in the transfer portal or not, that's irrelevant at the time.
Yeah.
How's your family holding up, Kamaria?
What'd you say?
How's your family holding up with just everything that you guys have been through?
We're doing great now, but it took us some months to get back to this point, and I think it's brought us closer. And it definitely, quarantine has made me value, relationships and different things of that sort a lot more than I did before. I think it showed a lot of people what they have taken for granted, just in day-to-day life, or what we knew was to be a normal life. So, I definitely say that we're doing a lot better now. My grandmother has fully recovered, and it gets hard for her because her and my grandfather were married for about 56 years. So, it's definitely an adjustment, but it's done nothing but bring us closer and, made us value the things that we take for granted a lot more. So, I'm always trying to find a positive in any situation, and I think that, I've have a new perspective on life and what's really important now. It's so easy to get caught up in, basketball or the things that we do, but, it's also important to value the people around us that kind of made us who we were, in a sense, from being younger.
Well, I'm much older than you, but you got a great mindset. You really do. I hope you maintain that and keep that mindset, because that's going to take you a long way. Now, I wanted to ask you, basketball related, I ask players this from time to time, but who was the first person to put a ball in your hand? Who kind of planted that seed for you to become the player you become?
My dad. Like, me and him were just, I caught a flight this morning, but me and him shot outside at the park till the sun went down yesterday, and I couldn't see. I had to make like 10 more threes, and I couldn't really see, but we still got it done, and my dad was the first one to introduce me to sports. He was a coach when I was a baby. He was coaching high school football and helping out with basketball, and he introduced me to every sport, literally. Even back where I'm from, every sport isn't even offered, but he made sure that he put it in front of me, and I picked up basketball, and we've been working summer in and summer out, year in, year out. He's really, really helped me. I just started working with other people, but in the beginning it was me and my dad, so that's my rock.
So he made you shoot when it's dark. I mean, does that make you a better shooter when you just kind of have to sense where the rim is?
No, so we didn't have to dark, but yesterday we just went to the park, and it started getting dark during our workout, and I have like a goal, like however many shots I want to make, and I was getting close to that goal, and I'm like, we got to keep shooting. So it's usually me dragging him and him not dragging him.
Did he play? Did he play sports, athletics? Was he a basketball player, somewhere involved in athletics?
He played college and he played junior college football, and then he ran track at University of Michigan, and then my mom ran track at Morris Brown College in Georgia. So both of them were track.
You're a scorer. You obviously can put up. You're one of the top scorers in the Big Ten, all Big Ten guard. Baylor, of course, has had players who have transferred in, some of them grad transfers like Chloe Jackson and then Taya Cooper last year, both of them very successful. Alexis Jones was someone who transferred in out of Duke, and they've all been successful. Did you, by any means, speak with any of them at all about the transfer part and going and the culture that is there, the standard of Baylor basketball?
No, I actually haven't. I'm just kind of going in with an open mindset. I understand that it's a rich culture at Baylor, and I understand that it's going to be adjustments for me, but I'm embracing that, and I feel like, growth is uncomfortable and it's unfamiliar, but without those circumstances, we'll never grow. So I'm up for it, and I know it'll be challenging at times. It's going to be different, but, I have to put myself in those positions to break out of comfort zones, and I felt that Baylor was the best place to, really get me out of my comfort zone and really try to, reach my potential, continuing this uphill battle to just reach my full potential as a person in general, not just as an athlete.
Is that kind of the pitch, if you will, that Mulkey and her staff kind of had for you as far as, hey, we're going to make you uncomfortable, it's going to make you better in the long run? Like, what was sort of their message to you about joining the program?
I mean, first and foremost, I explained it in my goals because, my first 2 years of college was pretty rough. So, I know what I'm not looking for, and I know what I don't want to be involved with the program, and I expressed that to them. And Coach Mulkey, I can just sense and I can vibe that she's a very authentic person. So, I express my concerns and I express my goals to her. And she not only told me that I could reach my goals, but she has done it before. And I think that was the difference. I can just feel her authenticity, and it was something that I thought I can do well with, for sure.
You ready to play defense?
Yes, sir.
Yep. That's the number requirement is doing it right, play defense. I know that just because you score doesn't mean you're not committed to playing defense at all. I got to tell you something. When I saw that news this morning, I was like, man, it's late in the process. And then I didn't know whether it was a grad transfer or you're going to have to be patient and sit out a year. But listening to you and hearing your story and listening, that's the key to America today, is listening. Man, you kind of have your stuff together, young lady. You really do. Very impressive.
Trying to get better every day. Just I go I say a brick a day. Just put your head down and grind, and before you know it, you have a wall. So just one brick every single day. It's kind of cliche, but journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step, and that's just kind of what I do. I let myself just take baby steps and enjoy the journey rather than the end goal, because that's where you learn the most anyway.
I can see that. I can see that as well. Your dad, you said, ran track at Michigan, correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you a Wolverines fan, or is that just not even allowed to even be anyone but a Wolverines fan?
You know what? I would not consider myself a Wolverines fan. When I was younger, my dad really pushed for Michigan, and I think he pushed too much. It kind of turned me off. So he took me up there a lot, so I felt like I already went there before because he was already always taking me up there, and it was just he was kind of forcing it on me, and he has a lot of school pride. So he's a diehard Wolverine fan, but I definitely, if Michigan's going against somebody, I would want them to win just off the strength of my dad, because he's so he's so enthusiastic about them. So
yeah, I bet he's tired of losing to Ohio State in football. I get they're sick and tired of losing to Ohio State in football.
It gets him upset. He doesn't like to wear red, or Ohio State, Michigan State. He doesn't like Notre Dame either. So he's definitely on the Michigan bandwagon forever.
Well, that's great. That's loyalty. That's commitment. It's an interesting story and a path you've taken and about what you dealt with as a young lady and as a human. Thanks for your time. Appreciate you sharing your story. Enjoy your time, and we'll see you when you get here at some point down the road, maybe at a practice or something, and good luck.
Definitely. Thank you guys for having me.
Kamaria.
Welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Kamaria McDaniel, Penn State transfer to Baylor, sits it out. They've had a coaching change. The coach who's now at Michigan, at Penn State, I think, came in from Marquette. There was an assistant coach that was at Penn State. The head coach at Penn State is now, I believe, on staff at Michigan.
Maybe.
And so that would, I believe that's right. But here's another one just sitting in the wings. And you look at the response. You look at the results. And I saw one of the elite players, one of the top players in the country, I think she's from Colorado, release their top 6 or 8 teams. And, of course, Baylor, UConn, the same ones you'd expect along the way that are all involved in the top player in the country. All right, when we come back, a couple of notes. Paul, how long was Jared Butler?
13 minutes,
okay.
So it's too long to play.
5:42 is the time on a day when Jared Butler returns to Baylor. High school football workouts start in Texas, and we're waiting. And we'll discuss this. Take your text line, 254-339-1122. Your thoughts about what's the biggest story today? Butler, high school football returning, the Big 12 when they announce their schedule. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. They've been having their sale, their employee pricing sale going on over the last month, and that has come to a close now with the month of August starting up, but they still have some fantastic deals going on for you, as they always do, as they keep you, the customer, in mind. Right now, qualified buyers can save over $7,000 on 2020 Acadias or Yukons, or save over $6,000 on Terrain. You can also save over $6,000 on a 2020 Buick Encore, getting it for only $19,900. Encores, they're the perfect crossover SUV with a quiet ride, a roomy interior. They're also packed with safety features and the latest technology. If you want the ultimate luxury, style, and power in a new SUV, well, check out the line of Cadillacs, the XT4s, XT5s, or the 7-passenger Cadillac XT6s. Experience the thrill of owning a Cadillac XT4 right now for only $35,900 at Richard Carr Cadillac. And as always, you get great prices, you get free oil changes with a new purchase, and in-town priority warranty service all comes with your purchase at Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac. They are the people you can count on. A local family dealer run by Baylor alumni. They want the chance to earn your business, so stop by the Daily Disinfected showroom. See the safety-focused staff, or they can bring the test drive to your home, because your comfort and safety is Richard Carr's first priority. Find them at Richard Carr, that's KARR.com, or Highway 6 at the Imperial exit.
Dr. Kent Petty wants you to be the highest performance man you want to be. Are you sluggish, lack energy? Do you suffer from low sex drive? Petty Clinic Low T offers discounted comprehensive lab work to check on your various levels that can make a difference. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be, with higher energy and stamina and improved sex drive, but also the healthiest and high performance man. Screening for cardiac heart disease risk, EKG, cholesterol panel, blood pressure monitoring, testosterone or growth hormone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, and prostate cancer screening. Petty Clinic Low T offers replacement therapy for testosterone or growth hormones, weight management therapy, and nutritional advice. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be, with higher energy, stamina, and improved sex drive, but the healthiest and highest performance man. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com, on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodway. PettyClinicLowT.com.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home. How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, hot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance, and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. The Sikkim 365 Radio poll is brought to you by Pickup Outfitters, where everything purchased and installed comes with our famous lifetime installation guarantee and free warranty assistance. 220 Lake Air Drive or createacommotion.com.
What a day. Not 3, 5, or 9, 10 guests today. That doesn't mean the show was good, but we hope we covered everything. The only thing we haven't really been able to cover is what's going to happen tonight with the presidents and the Big 12.
Yeah, but we don't know. So we'll get to cover it tomorrow.
Is something going to happen tonight? Do we know that?
Yeah.
No, and we don't know that either.
Because I haven't seen any scuttlebutt even. Like, I'm not seeing any sort of smoke that there's something that's, like, coming in soon. I haven't, quite frankly, and I haven't been searching for it, but typically if something's a pretty big story, you don't really need to. It'll hit you in the face eventually, and I haven't seen anything on the Big 12 today. Now, granted, I'm only really on Twitter now, like, during show hours, so maybe it was a little bit earlier today, but I feel like you guys would have seen that at the very least.
Yeah,
so
no,
I've seen nothing.
I haven't seen it all, and, you know, we talked about it today at about noon. I, called about, just some production stuff, and he goes, yeah, do you have anything on the Big 12? I'm like, I've been looking. I mean, literally, that was the one story I was waiting for today. Like, I had kind of put Jared Butler to the back of my mind, knowing that the deadline was coming up. But, the one thing I was like, okay, the Big 12's got to make a decision. But, if they were locked into a 12-game scheduling plan, and that's what they were trying to work out today, I don't think that that's going to be easy to work out. Not to say I don't think it's going to happen, but I just think that when all the other 4 conferences have said that they're not going to do that, I think a 9+1 model, works well. And if that one happens to be BYU for the most part, then I think that'd be pretty cool. I'd like to see BYU.
Chuck Carlton had somebody ask him about if something was expected tonight, and he said, probably we think. Just keep in mind this is the Big 12. Presidents are meeting now via teleconference, looking at different schedule models, announcement of some kind expected tonight. So he says, he started off by saying, probably we think. Just keep in mind this is the Big 12 and then closed out by saying announcement of some kind expected tonight. So who the heck knows? Who the heck knows if we'll get something tonight, but we might. 50-50.
Yeah, that's typical. That's who they are. And you know what? If they're not ready to announce it tonight, then don't do it just because we're waiting for it. But it does appear to be that would be the next thing to happen is the Big 10, Pac-12, ACC, SEC, and now the Big 12. I mean, it's been 4 days, right, since the last Power 5 said what they were going to say, or 3 days, 4 days?
They've had all weekend. They've had all weekend to make some kind of a decision, so I don't feel like this should really have to be too complicated of an argument, but I don't know all the logistics involved and the politics involved and things like that. I think a 9-game conference schedule with BYU added in makes a ton of sense. You'd have 10 games. Boom, done. I mean, that's as simple as that. You don't have to worry about all like, well, hey, Texas has got to tie up this loose end with this school, and Baylor's got to tie up their loose end with La Tech and Incarnate Word. And, I mean, I don't feel like that would probably be too complicated to do. I mean, you pay a school their money and basically tell them, hey, maybe we'll be in touch down the line, but just for simplicity's sake, I think a 9-game schedule or a 10-game schedule with your conference opponents and BYU, who you would have to then put in the mix for the Big 12 title this year. I mean, that would be an agreement for me if I was BYU. Is like, are we getting a share of the money, and are we a member like Notre Dame is for the ACC for 1 year? I would have to imagine they would have some sort of demand like that. But
see, Notre Dame has a money that they can share back. BYU, look, has a ton of alumni, and they've got money, and they can afford to be it, but the fact that your games are going to be on BYU TV is not as appealing as NBC.
No, but you're a member of the conference for this year. So what I'm saying is BYU getting a share of the money? Because if I was them, I would want it.
Yeah.
I mean,
they have to get it.
And that's what I'm saying.
Because they don't have the Notre Dame money to give. That might be. I never thought about that.
Right. That was exactly what I was saying. Was that I would imagine if I'm BYU, sure, we'll go play all the Big 12, but are we getting a share of the pie? Are we going to be eligible for the championship game? Like those would be the two things right away that would have to be in the mix for BYU to do that.
There's no reason for them to join the conference if they don't get some of the revenue, and there's no reason to join the conference if you can't play for the championship if you earn that right in the end. By the way,
wouldn't that be something if BYU ran and won the Big 12 and
it's
caused all sorts of chaos?
The National Hockey League, COVID-19. This completed the first week of Phase 4. 7,013 tests. 7,013 tests.
And
it appears as if they've had nobody positive.
Well, I mean, the bubbles are working.
Right.
The NBA, the bubbles work. That's why Major League Baseball and the NFL are going to be seemingly problematic, and that the bubbles they don't have a plan for that.
Well, and how's the NFL going to work? Because they can't have bubbles. I mean, it's almost logistically impossible to do.
The NBA, you can bring, you could bring 2 family members with you.
Right.
But are you going to tell the NFL you can't see your family for 6 months because it's, as opposed to the NBA bubble, if you've got, 12 guys on a team that can all bring 2 people, that's 36. Well, I mean, you're 36 people and you're not even all the way through the roster in the NFL yet.
That's what I mean is like if you can't do a bubble for Major League Baseball, how you can't do one for football. I mean, it'd be almost logistically impossible, and family members are not, like, just the number of players and coaches and staff that you're going to have to, like, that's impossible pretty much to do, so much less you add family members in. So point being, you're not going to have a bubble. So we see somebody like the NHL who's been operating one and doing really well with it. The NBA, outside of just their own blunders with players breaking rules, have actually been okay, but... Well, if you don't have one, then what does that look like?
24 teams, 2 bubbles, 52-person travel parties, no positive. Now, is that possible? 7,013 tests and no positives?
Yeah, everybody's being really responsible and taking care of their business. They're not going out and getting chicken wings at the strip club and pretending like they didn't know they were doing anything wrong. NBA, looking at you. I mean, it does seem almost impossible,
Marlins,
but
the Cardinals.
Yeah, but like every single one of those stories has something to do with a guy breaking a rule or breaking protocol, and so every single one of them does. And so it's almost like if you follow the rules and the protocols, you probably won't get it. It's an amazing thing to realize that, hey, a good way to not get COVID, and it's not like 100% risk-free, but if you follow the protocols, might not get it. If you don't follow the protocols, look what happens. And so the NBA is learning that the hard way. I think the NHL's just got guys who are being responsible.
Cardinals are quarantined in Milwaukee, the baseball team, until 2 straight days of all negatives.
Yeah, their series is canceled now, and then the Field of Dreams was coming up in a couple weeks. That's pushed off till next year, which was probably going to happen anyway, but that's still a bummer because I think that's a cool thing. And
all right, what a day. A lot of things going on. Again, we don't know what the Big 12 will decide, and when they do, whatever they do, we'll have Mac Rhodes, Baylor Director of Athletics, on with us tomorrow. He'll join us to discuss if, in fact, they make the decision of what it might be, and maybe by then we'll know a little bit more as well when it comes to what is the truth and facts behind Gary Patterson.